saved every thumbnail, right? Every cover of the book I've read, and my year in books here says I read 124 books, but when I Control A all my thumbnails, all my covers, it says 123. So there's one book, and I checked my whole list twice, and I can't find it. Or it's counting maybe wrong, maybe there's a double entry, I don't know, but it's 123 or 124. But yeah, this is my my year for 2025, 124 read, which apparently equals to 39,781 pages. The shortest book I've read is 67, the longest one was 784. This was short stories for Stephen King, which was, I got through it pretty quickly. It was a good read. I read Mistborn. That's the only Sanderson book I read this year. And then Least Shelf, this is the really indie book of the author who actually was watching my video, and I kind of like Googled who he was and then found his book. Average rating is 5 because I don't really rate anything unless I'm really impressed, and then I give it 5. If that makes sense. So like all of these I haven't rated. But then like Long Walk, I really was like, yes, still good. So I gave it 5. Heckless Children, I was really impressed, so I gave it 5. So that's why my average rating is 5. All the other books I haven't rated. I guess this is the highest rated book I've read, which is interesting that it's that one. I did really enjoy that one. But yeah, that's my year in books. But this is what it's all about. My year in books. Oh my god. Yeah, you're right. A lot of red. You can see like some series. The Dead one, Whispering Dead. There's 2 here. There's 3 here. Same series. All Coates. I think Darcy Coates is my most read author this year. Because I can see this one. I think I've read like 8 or 9 of her books. Maybe 10. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11. Yeah, I think I read 11 of her books this year. So she has to be my most read author for sure. They're also completely random. They're not alphabetical or anything. Some of them are, maybe. No, not at all. Yeah, we're just gonna get through it however I see whichever one I want to talk about, and then see how far we get in 2 hours. I think we're just not gonna find this mystery book. But yeah, let's start with Adam Neville's Banquet for the Damned. So I remember it very well, but I also thought it kind of like fizzled out. Didn't really ramp up the way I hoped. It kind of like took too long to get to the point. So I think this will be a good median for now. I might shift stuff around based on what I put where, but this is like, it wasn't bad. I still remember it very well, so it was definitely memorable, but A and B swapped. Oh yeah, how do I fix that? There we go. Stephen King, The Long Walk, very good still. Yeah, I think I'll put it on A. I don't really see a reason not to put it on S, but I think I'll put it on A. And the movie was pretty good too. Half of them I have talked about in the video, so I think I won't go too much in depth about what the book itself is about, just more about what I thought of it and if I liked it or not. But yeah, I did like it. Dracula Daily, I should put it really high because I know it's like the foundation for so many books in the future, and at the time it was written is really good. But then if I think about my enjoyment of the book, I would put it a little lower, maybe C, because it did really drag on at some parts. And then the ending is very like, wah, wah, wah. It's like, oh, it's over now? Oh, okay. I think I remember the movie really fondly, but the movie changes a lot of stuff as well. So it's cool that I've read Dracula, the original, and I wouldn't have been able to do it without Dracula Daily. But I think based on my enjoyment of it, I would put it a little lower. But I do think it's an amazing book, and considering the time it came out, it's incredible. Okay, this is a fantasy, so this is one of my couple of rogue entries. I'll put it on B. I'm really excited about the sequels, but I've only read the first book so far, but it's I've mentioned this one before. It's like a girl has magic powers without having to be schooled in it, but she doesn't trust the people who run the school. So they're kind of like hunting her down while she is trying to not get caught, but she needs to be taught how to control her powers. Otherwise, she's just gonna become a nuke, basically. Her powers will grow so much out of control that she will blow up a city. It's like half about the hunt and the search, and then half is like what comes after. So I won't give too much away, but if you like a pretty easy to read fantasy with a magician's guild, I recommend this one. Kind of like X-Men, kind of like powers, where it's like for some they're innate, but they need to be trained. You don't have the date added for model home on Goodreads, so it's probably not counting. I think that's it. Oh my god. Yeah, that's it. Okay, I'm worried though if I do this. Okay, can you guys remember this? A, B, C rank for these books? I'm gonna try. Okay. I'll try and add. I have to save it though. Did I forget to put it in my December reads too then? I had like the double entry problems with reading it on Kindle, and then Goodreads got all confused about it. That is insane that you guys found that. Okay, it worked. It's been added. It's on the right here. You can just see it. And nothing broke. Good. Thank you. What stalks the deep? Ooh, this was a fun one. I'm definitely putting it on A. This is like Kingfisher. Kingfisher almost never misses, honestly. She's so good. This is a short novella series. This is the third one in the series. You could read them separately if you really want to, I think, but it is more fun to go in order because they do reference the first book, especially a lot in this one. And the first one is very good. I think the first one is still the strongest one, but the third one was good and made me have faith in the series again. So any new ones that come out, I will get them. I even ordered like a really special edition for the first three, a really nice hardcover edition, just because I wanted to support Kingfisher, and it was very good. Second one is really not that great, I think, but I would still recommend the series as a whole, I think. Stay on the Line by Chapman is very short. I do really remember it though. I'll put it on B. It's a very short like novella as well, about this lonely fisherman town and how people move on. And so it's basically a phone box that lets people talk to their loved ones who've died. And it's almost like an addiction, obviously, because all these people who come to the phone box are people that have trouble moving on, and they really are desperate to talk to their loved ones. And the phone box might be a little sinister, but I won't give you much more. But it's a very short read, so if you want it like a, well, I wouldn't say light read because it's all about grief, but very good, interesting read. But it's also very much like Ghost Eaters, this book. It's basically the same book as Ghost Eaters, but shorter. With the same themes of grief and moving on and not being able to move on. So Ghost Eaters is about, you get a drug that if you take the drug, you can see dead people. So people become addicted to constantly taking this drug, hoping to see their loved ones. And then A tier. Ghost Eaters was really, really good though. I was locked in. I read the whole book in like 2 days. It really felt like, I get this very rarely, it's a very rare occurrence, but some books are written so well that I just feel like the book is a wave and I'm just riding it. Like, I cannot stop reading it, and I'm along for the ride, and I'm enjoying every chapter. That was this book. So, maybe even S. I really fucking loved this book, and I came out of this book being like, Chapman is a genius. It was super scary. Had like this undertone of like, when the ghosts realize that you can see them, they are drawn to you as well. So you start attracting ghosts that you really don't want to see. You're taking the drug hoping to see your loved one, but others come visiting. It was really, really good. And I think probably the strongest one of Chapman that I've read. This was an Irish book, which was really fun because I could ask Sean every now and then about some Irish slang. But the movie, I keep wanting to say movie, but the book itself was a bit dull. I would say C, just because I was really hoping that there was like a huge fleshing plant that would devour people. That was kind of like the vibe I wanted from the book. But the book is really more about relationship between people. This woman struggling to find a job after breaking up with her partner. So it's more about her life and her struggles, and the plant thing is kind of just in the background until like the last 10% where suddenly shit hits the fan and it's like, whoa, what name? This is Eat the Ones You Love. Sorry, yeah, I should say the title every now and then. It was very good. Like, I can't really fault it for anything, but it was just horror-wise and what I wanted out of the book. It just didn't really hit the same for me. Then Ghost of Mary Hall is a very recent one that I read. Probably B or C. Probably B because I was into it more than Eat the Ones You Love. And it was really well written how it had this dual timeline between current day. It had three POVs basically. Current day, mom and her daughter moving into the house to kind of like house sit. Then the ghost POV, current day, which was very interesting because not many books do that. And then when the ghost was still alive, their past POV. And it does it in a good way, so very impressive. Then this one was fantasy with a hint of spice and some necromancy, which is the dark fantasy I always go for. So I did really enjoy this one. But would I put it as high as A? Probably B, probably like the same level. Like I really enjoyed it, but I didn't feel like, oh my god, I have to read the next one. Although by now I kind of want to read the next one. And it's Kingfisher again, like What Sucks, the Deep, same author. She does horror and fantasy. So her fantasy, usually from the ones I've read, have kind of like a dark touch to them, like some death, some dark fantasy kind of vibes. So I really like it. She does both very well. That's Paladin's Grace. Sorry, I'm so bad at this. Yes, Paladin's Grace by Kingfisher is the one I'm talking about. But my favorite of hers is Defensive Guide to Baking Wizard. There's something more in the title. But that one was so fun. It's like focusing on a girl who works at a bakery and her only magical gift is that she is really good with sourdough. So she can make sourdough. She can make like gingerbread cookies and then make them dance. She can like manipulate dough. And that's her power. And then the whole book stems from that. And it's just so good. Really good. Nettle and Bone was also very good. The Demon Chicken is so fun. Yeah, Kingfisher is just crazy good, but I've read almost all her books at this point, so that's the only reason I haven't read much more, because I've just read almost all of them already. This is the first D tier for sure. The Three Streets book. It's a Japanese author. I can't see. Yamada, maybe? I can't really see from here now who the author is, but the book is called Three Streets. This was like a dream book almost, like you're reading about someone's dream and it really like jumps back and forth, like stuff just merges. I hate to say, but not that it's bad. Like this is definitely a good book. I'm just talking about how it felt reading it. You know how those AI videos, they morph into like something similar and they morph back and forth? That's what I felt like reading this book, where it was just like, we're in a shop right now. Oh no, we're in the street again. Oh, now we're in the past. And it just like, Yoko Tawada, that was it. Jumps back and forth so much. And it's like, she has these crazy, weird, like almost like hallucinations. And I just read this like, I don't even know what you want me to experience reading this book. I'm sure some people love this kind of writing. But for me, it was just like, I don't know what you want from me. So I didn't enjoy it. This is another Adam Neville, All the Fiends of Hell. I think I'm gonna put it on A tier. Yeah, I think so. This is like a War of the Worlds kind of book, so if you love War of the Worlds, definitely read this one. As I was reading it, I wasn't too hot on some of the middle parts, like some of the main characters' motivations and decisions. I was kind of like, eh. But then now that some time has passed, I really think back on this book fondly, and I remember it very vividly reading this. The book starts out so strong as well. This guy has a crazy fever, so he's like bedridden, while the invasion starts, the alien invasion. And this is the intro of the book. The first chapter, it describes everyone just kind of like becomes a zombie, becomes puppeted, walks into the street, looks up, and then gravity shifts and everyone falls into the sky. Everyone, except the couple of people who were too sick or bedridden to leave their homes. So that's how it starts, and it really is like that 28 days later feel, like everyone is gone, and he's kind of just like figuring out like, what the fuck do I do? Where do I go? Really, really cool, yeah. And it gets so tense at the end, holy shit. This is one of those books where I'm like, please write a sequel. I really want to see where this goes. Then another, shall I say F tier? F or D? I really didn't like this book. This book is described as like House of Leaves, but hacking, which is why I chose to read it. It was just so dry and so hard to get through, and it literally had like whole essays in the book that would just completely take you out of the story. Here's the whole history of the internet and computers, and I'm like, I don't need to know this to enjoy the story. So it really felt like the book could be only a third of what it actually was, and it would have been fine. It was because it was an actual essay. Like, it was introduction, synopsis, or premise, researchers, conclusion, and then sources even. It would list all of the sources for the article. So I would just be like, oh, here's another essay. Skip to the conclusion. Got it. Skip a couple more pages for references. Moving on. So I really didn't like the layout of this book. It really just didn't hit with me. I thought the ending was really lacking. I only kept reading it because it was like the story is about that there exists a combination of 4 words that anyone who reads or hears those words wants to die. And I was like, whoa, what are the 4 words? I need to know. And then the 4 words at the end, I won't say it, but that was so disappointing. And I was like, that is not the solution. Those 4 words exist in regular life. They're too common. It was such a bad payoff for getting through this entire slog of a book. I didn't like it. Lovecraft Country. Ooh, country. B, maybe C. B or C, I would say. It was really good, but it wasn't what I thought it would be. I felt like it was written with like, this is gonna be a TV show in mind. And it is a TV show. I haven't seen the TV show yet. I should watch that because I did really enjoy the book. The only reason I'm putting it on C tier is because of the layout of the book. It would completely switch characters and POVs and just basically short stories. And then in the end, they all come together really well. So it's well written. It's a good book, but I really loved the guy in the first story, and then he doesn't come back until the ending, basically. So I was like, man, where is he? I want more of him. So the whole book, I felt kind of like cheated out of his story, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is Lovecraft Country by Matt Ruff, I think. But this is the first book where I learned a lot about like Black history for America. How they had like a book for Black people to be like, it's safe to eat in this diner, it's safe to sleep in this hotel, which was really scary, and I didn't realize that was a thing. But there's a couple more that I'm reading The Reformatory right now, so scary white people. But yeah, that was definitely an interesting angle that I didn't know existed. The Green Book, yes, that was it. Disturbance, D tier, yeah. It was fine, but it was one of those books that dangles like a little supernatural carrot in front of me and then snatches it away and tries to go with a grounded, realistic ending. So I come out a little disappointed. It wasn't bad or anything. It was like about a woman coming to terms with like processing her past traumatic relationship. In doing so, she has basically a phase where she looks towards magic, and then it kind of makes it seem like she actually is a really powerful witch. And I was like, oh, this will be cool, like a power arc. She's actually way more cool than she thinks, but no, she just goes to therapy. So I was disappointed. Strange Houses, I have to give that A tier, even if the ending was a little bit like I loved the premise so much, and it was such a brain teaser of a book. I loved it. Showing you those house layouts and be like, what do you think is wrong with this house layout? And I was like, okay, don't read. What do you think is wrong with this house layout? Like, it really was like this really nice puzzle book. It was really fun. So yeah, even if the ending of it was kind of like, I don't know. Ending felt a bit flat, but the book itself is just so strong. Such a good opening. But yeah, Strange Houses by Uketsu. Uketsu, who is a YouTuber, strangely enough, Japanese YouTuber. Then The Hatching. Oh, I loved this one. I really liked it. I think B is good. Creepy Crawlies felt very much like Independence Day, I remember saying. It kind of like that, like kind of like action movie level. So don't expect too much depth-wise. But if you enjoy Independence Day and those kind of like, Mr. President, something else has gone wrong kind of movies, then you'll like this one. And I loved it. That was like really cool mood, and I loved how it jumped all across the earth, where different places where this infestation is starting for spiders. And I can't wait for the other 2 books because it's a trilogy. So fair warning, the first book doesn't have much going on yet. It's really about the start of everything. So it kind of like builds up to where, okay, now shit's gonna hit the fan, and then it ends. So you have to read book 2 then to really see how they're gonna deal with the situation. Okay, Red River 7. This was the Resident Evil book. C, maybe B. I did really enjoy it, but it was like, yeah, and actually I remember the ending very well. Maybe B? They're few and far between, but if you like that kind of action, zombies, I think you would really enjoy this book. Red River 7 by Ryan. Ryan is his last name. It's a virus that kind of like affects your memory, or it infects you through your memories. Something like that. So they get like 7-8 people together and they wipe their memories on purpose so that they can't get infected. And then they have to go downriver through London to get to the level ground zero, basically, of the infestation. So that one was very good, and I also really liked the ending. So yeah, recommend that one if you like Resident Evil. The Hair, very good. That has to be A tier, right? A tier, possibly S. I might shift a couple more books to S tier once we get going more. To kind of, I might shift some stuff around. But that one was really good. I'm trying to think versus his other books that I've read. I think I've read 3 of them. Rotten Tommy, Night Shoot. I think that's the ones I've read. Night Shoot was my favorite, I think. Or Rotten Tommy. I like them all. I think they would all be very consistently on the same rank. And I can't possibly put them all on S rank. Which one do I like the most? Night Shoot, I think. I did really like Rotten Tommy too, but Night Shoot is fucked up, but holy shit, that ending was tense. I think Night Shoot should go S, and then I'll put Rotten Tommy and The Hair on A. Yeah, I think I'll do that. This one is so gross. Like, think of like House of a Thousand Corpses, that banned X-Files episode, like that level of like grossness. Necrophilia, rotting bodies, everything. Really gross, but the ending, the last like 50 pages were so tense. My heart was like racing reading it, and that doesn't happen often. So I think that's why Night Shoot has to be S rank over the other 2. But yeah, The Hair, I really liked the ending as well, and I really felt for this like old lady. These are all in my other videos as well if you want a more detailed description of them. Really liked the ending. Rotten Tommy, the ending was a bit more like, I can see why. It's maybe a little weird, but I get it. And everything up to it was amazing. And also very well written autistic main character. Really well written, to the point where I constantly was like, I do that. So very good. Really well written. All 3 of them. He's very consistently good, I think, Sodergren. Well, this is definitely F tier. I mean, if you want to know more about Stolen Tongues, I have a 20-minute rant on one of the book videos. So I won't go into depth, but I will say I will slam this book into F tier like he slammed his gun on the table. And I'll leave it there. Fovea. The Fovea Experiments by MJ Mars. Very, very good. My only thing is, should I give it S tier or A tier? Definitely one of my favorite reads. I might put this S tier. I might change my mind later on, but This was such a fun book. I really like MJ Mars, and she's only written 2 books so far, and both I absolutely loved. This is like sleep experiments. They're trying to look at what happens to you between the veil between being asleep and awake, if that makes sense. So the moment you fall asleep, there's something there, and they're looking into what that is. And then once they find it, it's just like they're seeing shit they're not supposed to see. I really, really loved it. And it was a short read, maybe like 150 pages or something. MJ Bars is amazing. Either one of her books, I really recommend them. Her other book is like a Halloween party. A group of students do a seance, and then they all invite something over that is just gonna terrorize them. So it's like her books, I think I like her books so much because she's like straight to the point. Like there's no dilly-dallying. Like the horror commences right away. Like even the Fovea, the Halloween one, it starts with just like all of them at the table being like, okay, it's Halloween night, let's do a seance. Like first chapter, boom. And then Fovea, she does it as well. Like it starts with like the group being together and like, here's the experiment, here's what we're gonna do. So I really like that. I like how she's just like straight to the point. She doesn't waste any time. There's no like dull moments. It's just start to finish, good. This Town Died With You. Ooh, this is the very niche indie book that I read. I actually really enjoyed it. I would say B or C. This is also a very short read. You can read it really quickly. I think the title, without spoiling the book, is very smart. And I still think about this book quite often, actually. Like, I enjoyed it. I kind of was like, ooh, I wish it was this or that, or he could expand the story by doing it like this and write a bigger book, which honestly he still could do. And I will be there to read it. So I think my only gripe with this book is that I wish there was more to it. I wish it was bigger, if that makes sense. It's kind of just like written in a way, like the book knows it's a novella, so it can't go too deeply into things and it can't like give the characters too much depth. And I wish it did. I wish it would have done that. So it's kind of like me wanting more, which is a good criticism to have. I guess that's a nice criticism to have. And then we're gonna go to House of Thorns. Ooh, I really liked this one. I think this is an A tier for me. I am a sucker for Lovecraftian books. I love the cosmic horror aspect. This is a cosmic horror one, and it doesn't hold back. It goes balls to the walls for the ending. It has a long build-up. It's quite a chunky read. And it's the same with Heckless Children. We'll come to that book at some point in the future. But it was one of those books that was just so well written that I kind of like forgot that there was like a whole part B to the story. I was so engrossed in just part A of the book that when it came to part B, which was fucking amazing, I was kind of just like, oh yeah, holy shit. Now we're gonna do this thing. And then the ending was amazing. And the kids are just so well written. It's about a group of orphans who live in the House of Thorns. Very good. That is by Mountford. Oh, this is getting difficult. I'm putting so much on A and B. I'm sure I'll put some weaker ones down below in the future. 25 Days is definitely a good Christmas read. It's written like an advent calendar, so you can read 1 chapter a day until Christmas. And it's just a really good thriller, like cat and mouse kind of hunt kind of thing, stalker, kidnapping situation. It's just really tense. I kind of compared it to Saw 1 at like a certain point of the book is kind of like Saw 1. Yeah, I enjoyed this way more than I thought. For a book I randomly picked up in like a bookstore being like, Christmas book, sure, why not? It definitely surprised me. Oh no, every book is so good. God. This Cursed House is also very good. I would put it under House of Thorns, so I'll put it in B. But it was very good. I love any book that's set in like Southern America, Louisiana vibes, Bayou vibes, and this is one of those. It's about a black lady who gets invited to spend time with her. Well, at the time she doesn't know that the family, but she is related in a way to this family that she's hired to work for. And the family has a black history, but they're white passing. So it's a very interesting dynamic how the family is rich and they think they're so much better than her. The whole book is about her uncovering all of the skeletons in their closet. And I fucking hated this family by the end of the book. I really wanted her to just doom them all and let them die. So I got a lot of feelings out of this book. It was good. So Go Home Katie. I read 2 of these. Where's the other one? It has a very similar... Here, The Worst Kind. So I read 2 of these. And I don't know. I think Come Home Katie is the first one. They're both good, but I would say the second one was better. I just don't know if I want to do C and B or B and A. I think C and B. So this is the Celeste series by Erickson. So the first book is Come Home Katie and the second book is The Worst Kind. I'm only putting the first book on C tier because I just called the plot like so early on in the book, literally like the first 50 pages of the book. So because of that, the book was a little weaker for me because I just the whole time I was like, I think it's you. I really enjoyed it and I think it's really good. Again, if you like The Medium, you know, that old TV show, or what's the other one that went along that? The Ghost Whisperer? And I like the second one a lot more because the second one really kept me guessing to the point where I was like, should I read the third one right away? Because I really want to, but I haven't done it yet. I want to make sure I read a good variety of books. So if you like Ghost Whisperer or The Medium, you have to read these books. They will be really nice for you. 13 Stories. Definitely not D. It was good. I think C for me. Just because it was a bit hard to keep track of everyone. It's basically like 13 short stories that all come together at the end. Different people all living in the same apartment building and all having different types of hauntings happening to them. So it was really good. I think this would be a banging TV show because you can have kind of like the visual like confirmation of what they look like and keep track of them better. Especially when they like pass in each other's background and stuff. When they pass each other in the hallway. Yeah, I think it was really good and the payoff is great. I loved how it all came together at the end, but it was just a bit too complicated for me, so that's why I'm putting it on C. I think Hyde can go C as well. Almost D, but C is good, I think. Just because I did really enjoy it. It's just like haunted theme park book. It was a bit shallow, maybe. It felt a lot like, you know that Japanese TV show that's like a hide-and-seek TV show, Run for Money, I think it's called. I love that show, by the way. It really felt like that. It was like a contestant. A bunch of people have to hide all day in the park. And the longer they cannot get found, the more money they get. But again, same thing. Even the prologue, I read it and I was like, okay, this is what's actually going on. And I was right by the end, so I was like, huh. But I did really like the ending. It did some stuff that I did not expect. It's a bit of a shallow book at times, I want to say. Like a very easy read, almost like young adult. Not that that's bad. I mean, I love young adult. I did enjoy it though, so that's why I'm putting it on C and not D. My Ex, the Antichrist. I think that's another C. I did really enjoy it, and it goes fucking nuts towards the end, which is really fun. Like, I thought it was good, but at the same time, reading it, I kind of was just like, okay, yep, here you go. And the ending is awesome, and it really, like, escalates really well, but it didn't grab me for some reason as much. I would put it in the same tier as, like, this Banquet for the Damned. I wouldn't quickly recommend it to anyone unless you're like a metal band fan. If you're really into rock music, then I think you'll enjoy it more. Running Man I'll put on D, I think, just because I didn't really enjoy it reading it. So this is one of those rereads, like The Long Walk. I read these together when I was like a teenager, early 20s maybe, and at the time I was like, oh, that was cool, but The Long Walk still holds up where The Running Man doesn't, I think. There's just some stuff, especially because the book is like, The Running Man is like, it's 2025. The world is fucked. There's flying cars everywhere. It just didn't really hit knowing it was 2025 when I was reading this. It just didn't, like, I felt a bit goofy because of that. It had still some really good action, some really tense action scenes. So it's not terrible or anything. It was a good book, but I just didn't enjoy it as much as I remembered. So I'll leave it there. Scuddler's Cove. I think I'll put that on B. I really enjoyed it. It's a Cornwall. That's the place, right? Like West England. And it was very fun. It has that really like folklore feel with the goddess of the sea and the god of the land. It goes into like old folklore stuff, which was really good. And it was really, the stuff that was happening was really good. I'll put it in B because not A, just because I was really hoping for a certain ending. Kind of similar to The Hare. And The Hare gave me the ending that I wanted, and Scuttler's Cove didn't. So that's why I'm putting it on B. Like, it was really good, solid throughout, but it's not on this level, if that makes sense. How Bad Things Can Get. I think C. I really enjoyed it. Darcy Coates is always good, but for what kind of horror she wrote, it's just not my favorite. She's always a little... I love when she does, like, supernatural horror. This one was kind of supernatural, but also not. And it was really weird how it was kind of like a Mr. Beast kind of YouTuber in the book. And he was doing like, he bought a private island and then he's doing like a show for money on it. And it felt like, it was kind of like giving me like the heebie-jeebies because it was awkwardly based on like Mr. Beast. I feel like a very like modern take, a modern horror on literally what's happening now with YouTube and stuff. I would recommend it. But I just know that there's books of hers that I like more that I will put higher up. So I'll leave that one there. Exorcist, D tier. What a fucking boring book. The movie is so much better. Between the book and the movie, I was like, yeah, I could see why the movie did that way because it's better. I was a bit disappointed by The Exorcist. I was expecting more of it, and I think the movie is just so well done. I have this friend who always says like, you don't really have to read The Lord of the Rings because the movies are just so good. That's how I feel with The Exorcist. Like, the movie is just so well done. It's such a good adaptation that I don't think you need to read the book. Slewfoot. I finally read this one. This one got recommended a lot by people. By Brum, and it was very good. Yeah, I think it was really good. I just personally, this time frame, like the witch hunt era, the witch hunt, I don't know, what time is that, like 1600s, 1700s? I think 1600s. It honestly was really well written. It's just good throughout. The ending is amazing, but I just, something about like, same with The Witch. You know, the movie, the VV-itch, The Witch. Lots of people love that movie, and I think it's a little boring. Just because, I don't know, there's something about that setting. Same with like cowboys. I just don't really gel with the time frame. How hard it is for women as well. Like, they're good for nothing except making babies and cooking food. I just get too frustrated reading it. But the ending's really good throughout, so I'll put it on B. So yeah, if you like The Witch, read Slewfoot for sure. Lonely Broadcast 2, I'll put that on A rank. I fucking loved that book. I raced through it. I thought it was really exciting, beginning to end. There's no dull moments. Kind of like Fovea, where it's just like it gets straight into it and it just keeps running until the book's over. You're just along for the ride. I think it's also better than the first book. So the first book started as a Reddit story and then got expanded into a book. It's really good, but it had some moments where I'm like, I can kind of like feel how these are separate stories that got merged into one. And then for book 2, it felt way more cohesive. Like it all worked together. There's a couple of loopholes where I was like, why isn't this like this from the beginning? A couple of gaps in the story, but I can overlook them just because the action was really good and like it just had such a good pace to it. If there's a third one, I will read it. I will be there. Outpost. I think I'll put it on C. So this is an apocalyptic book. World is ending. You don't really know why for a big part of the book, but it's from the POV of people on an Antarctic base. They're only surviving because they get deliveries, food deliveries, people do shifts and then can go back to the actual world. And then as the apocalypse is happening, they kind of get cut off from the world. So that is a very interesting aspect. One by one, the TV channels go, then the radio stops broadcasting, their food delivery doesn't come, stuff like that. So that's really good. And then what it actually was, like what is causing the apocalypse, I was also like, holy shit, this is not what I expect. For some reason I was expecting zombies, and then it wasn't, and I was like, what the fuck, holy shit. So that was really cool, and I'm definitely going to read the sequels as well. So there's 3 books, but the reason I haven't yet is because apparently they all take place at the same time, but different parts of the world, which is really interesting. So Outpost, the first one here, takes place on an Antarctic base. And then I think the second one is like New York City. So it'll be like right in the center of the apocalypse, I think. Like shit will be crazy from the get-go instead of the isolation from the first book. Third one I don't remember, but I know they all take place at the same time. It's just different POVs for the same apocalypse. So very interesting. I'll definitely read the rest as well, but it did some stuff, handled some stuff a little awkward. Like it kind of felt like the main character was getting fat shamed here and there. That's why I'm also putting it on C. Like there's some stuff that I was like, why would you write it this way? Like it wasn't really tactfully handled, I think. And again, same with Still Wakes the Deep. There's a character in it that has diabetes, and they just probably didn't even Google how diabetes works because they get it wrong. It's just like, oh yeah, just eat a bar of chocolate and you'll be fine. It's like, that is not how diabetes works. So C tier for that. Oh, Nyctophobia. I need to look up this book. I can barely remember this book. Oh, no. I'm surprised, honestly, for all of these so far. I've remembered them. Nyctophobia, of course, is be scared of the dark. You're scared of the dark. Callie is a young architectural student who marries Matteo, a wine importer, and moves to the grand old house in southern... Oh, it is that one. Hyperion House. I think I'll put it on D. I still remember some of it, but yeah, it was kind of forgettable. William was really fun. I might put that on A. I think William was great. It's like a short little book, really good twists. It's about an inventor who basically makes a Chucky doll, like a Chucky robot with really intelligent AI, when it just gets too smart for its own good and wants to break out. So really, really fun. I really enjoyed that one. Whistling on D for sure. I thought it was very boring. I know some people love this book, but I was reading it being like, for one, the whole, like the front of the book, it says like the whistling, once you hear it, it's already too late. And this lady is fucking hearing whistling the whole book and nothing happens. It's like, you lied to us. It went back and forth a lot without really anything happening, any decisions being made. And then by the end of it, I was like, yeah, okay, I'm bored. Secret Santa was very good. Where would I put it? Probably B tier, I would say. I thought it was very fun. Yeah, with 25 days on the same tier. Yeah, that's good. I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was very good. And a good ending. I loved the ending. I thought it was very good. A lady gets hired at a new job. Everyone's awful. She isn't supposed to be included for the Secret Santa because she just got hired and the Secret Santa is literally like 2 days later. So everyone's like, well, obviously no one's gonna have a present for you. And then there's a mystery present for her with basically an evil haunted artifact in it. So someone is trying to fuck her over, and it's very fun. Puppets in the Apartment Walls. I think that's an A tier. I really enjoyed that one. I think it really tricked me as well. I was very, very surprised at the ending. I really was like, oh my god, what? I fell for it. Like, I literally fell for the trap and was flabbergasted by the end. So, very good. And creepy, you know, dolls in the wall. It has one of those walls where, you know, you can just kind of like walk through it if you're thin enough. So it's very like claustrophobic, and it has this kind of like back rooms feel to it as well. So really good vibes. Oh, F tier. Ding, ding, ding. Those Across the River. What a fucking garbage book. Holy shit. This is like Stolen Tongues level bad. which is a shame. I'm going to take this book with it because it's the same author as Between Two Fires, which is really good. I would put Between Two Fires on B tier. So I'll start with that. Between Two Fires is like a fantasy horror book. Demons versus angels in medieval times. And this knight who kind of lost his way rescues a girl. And the girl is like, I can hear angels. We need to get to this city and you're going to take me there. Ghouls and goblins and demons try and trick them in different ways. This, again, would be a fucking great TV show, I think. Ending is fucking nuts. It was really good. So I was like, oh, I'll read Those Across the River. Same author. I'm sure it's good. I was wrong. So the reason Between Two Fires is good is because there's no women in it. Those Across the River is the worst book for women I've ever read. The woman that's in this book is literally only good for sex and cooking. And it's just so awful. I think I ranted about this book in a previous video as well. So if you want to hear more about this one, I think I talked about it before. I was really hoping it was this twist of like she's pretending to be useless. And then it like is like, haha, I lured you in with my voluptuousness and I'm actually in charge. I was really hoping that there would be this like flip or this twist. But no, there wasn't at all. And she was just... The whole book is just mean. At one point, she's reading a book, and then the guy, her husband, is like, huh, I read it in French, and then spoils the ending for her. Like, there's little things like that throughout the whole book where I'm like, the fuck? It's just awful. I fucking hate it. Then on to nicer things. Ooh, I think I'm gonna have to say B. I really like this one though. Almost A tier, I would say. Tales from the Gas Station, Volume 2 by Jack Townsend. I think it's better than Volume 1. I think I liked it more than Volume 1. I was constantly chuckling reading this book. Really funny. It's like a horror comedy. Kind of like almost like an anomaly book. It's a dude working at a gas station, and it really is like, okay, when this person comes in, don't look at them, don't answer their questions. Like, weird shit will happen all the time at this gas station, and he's just learned how to deal with it and survive. Entities and monsters will show up, and he's just kind of like dealing with it in his own weird way, and he has a friend that's fucking hilarious who used to be in a cult, but even the people in the cult didn't like him, so they left him behind. God, it's just thinking about it, it's so funny. It was really funny. The hulked out raccoon. Yeah, there's just so much funny shit in this book. And you really can't take it too seriously. It really is written like every scene is just weird in some way. So yeah, really funny. And I am definitely looking forward to reading more of this. There's a lot of books to this series. I think just Tales from the Gas Station is like 4 or 5 volumes, and then there's also like extra stories in between or spin-offs. There's a lot. So I've only read Volume 1 and 2 so far, but from what I've read, I will definitely be reading more of this in the coming year, and I'm very excited. I think it's very good. The Death of Jane Lawrence, another B tier, I would say. Caitlin Starling is very good. I really like her. I've read 2 of her books so far. The other one is the sci-fi caving horror book, Luminous Dead, I think it was. This one's also very good. It's a different vibe, completely different vibe. So the original, or the first book of hers, was the sci-fi caving one. And then this one is like Victorian horror, where a lady basically goes into an arranged marriage of her choice, kinda. So it's like they get married not really based on love, but they are kind of interested in it. They just kind of like put the marriage first and then get feelings for each other. And the man she gets married to is a doctor. So he's really like, okay, you can't be squeamish because people will come in covered in blood, blah, blah, blah. And he could really use help with the books because he's terrible at like accounting, blah, blah, blah. She's really good at accounting. So it's like, it's a very like slow burn, I would say. And slowly she starts discovering more and more about him and all the skeletons he's trying to hide. But I think it was a very strong book throughout and just a good payoff, good, well-written characters. I liked it. Oh my god, I'm gonna have so much beat here. Dead End Tunnel by Nick Roberts. I thought it was good, but also not like maybe C. It was good. I really enjoyed it, but it also was lacking on a couple fronts. It starts out so strong. Like, I really got like really good season 1 Stranger Things vibes from it. Like 3 kids sneak out at night. They're on their little bicycles. They got walkie-talkies, and then they are gonna go out to a store to like secretly buy some beers because we're rebels, like these young 12-year-old kids. And then they cycle into a tunnel, and only 2 of them come out, and then one is just gone. So the setup was really strong. Like the start of the book, I was like, ooh, I'm into this. Like, this is cool. But then the way it panned out, I kind of felt it was lacking. It was good, and I actually really liked the ending as well. It was good, but yeah. Trying to think. I think it's in a good tier with these. Like, these are all good books. Almost B, I would say. I think it was good throughout. I really liked it throughout, but at the same time, like the way some stuff was written with the families and the characters and motivations, I was kind of like, but it was really good though. So I'm definitely going to keep an eye on this author and whatever else he's going to write. And same story for Gnome Cave. I know it's such a silly cover and a silly title. So this is written by Rolf, who is the angry video game nerd on YouTube, if anyone's old enough to remember him. He's a dad now, he has kids, and he wants to make movies, but then he was like, wait, I can also just write books. So he wrote a horror book called Gnome Cave, and I thought going in, it was going to be like Goosebumps. I really recently talked about this. Is the last book I read for 2025, so I just talked about it, but just to reiterate, I thought it was going to be like Goosebumps kind of feel, like kind of for kids horror, but it actually had way more adult themes hiding between the lines, that it actually had way more depth than the cover or initial impression makes it seem. So I definitely recommend Gnome Cave. There's more to it than you think. Then I think, so these are from the same series. So this is I Found Puppets Living in My Apartment Walls, and this one is I Found Christmas Lights Slithering Up My Street. So these 2 books by Ben Farthing are part of the I Found series, and so far they've all been good. I read one about like a hidden hallway in an abandoned mall, and that one was the weaker one, I would say, of the 3 I've read. So these 2 are both really solid. I think this is a great Christmas read. If you want like Christmas horror book, it's like a short read, it's like a novella, but just really good. Yeah. I'm gonna put How to Survive a Horror Story on B. It was good throughout. I enjoyed the ending. Didn't absolutely love it, but I enjoyed it, and I think it was really fun throughout. A group of people come together for a will reading, so it kind of feels like Knives Out 1. Not that they're family, they're not related. And most of them are like, I'm not sure why I'm here. But they got invited to the will reading, so they all want money. So obviously they showed up. And then it was really cool throughout the book to be like, okay, why are you here? Why did he bring you here, the guy who died? I had a bunch of escape room stuff to it as well. Like, they all had to solve riddles and puzzles to survive. So really, I thought that was a really fun book, and good twists. Like, you kind of feel for everyone in the start, and they all paint themselves in their own POVs in a good light, but then their secrets come to light, and it's like, oh, you're an awful person. Like, it was really good. I enjoyed that. Ooh, this might be S tier. I think this is really good for someone like me who's read so many haunted house books, because I absolutely love it. This is probably one of the more original ones that I've read. So it's Christina Henry. My Place Where They Buried Your Heart is the title, long title. But I think this one is so interesting. It's about a haunted house, but it's written from the POV of a person who lives on the same street as the house. And you go through her entire life. It's so well written, and this haunted house is just a constant threat in the background, and it's so good. So that was Christina Henry, My Place Where They Buried Your Heart. I thought it was really good. And I really felt for the main character, and I really understood her feelings and her motivations for things. I felt bad for her, like you really want her to succeed in life. It was really good. Now this is a bit tricky because I've read so many Darcy Coates books and they're all like Haunting of Something House that I don't remember which one this is. Hold on. A grave hidden in the depths of the forest. Ah, yes. Okay. This is not as strong as her other ones. It's good. I'm gonna put it on C. Just because it was really fun and it is a good book, but it kind of had an issue with like exposition. F for forgettable. F for fuck that book. But Haunting of Ashburn House by Darcy Coates, I thought it was good, but it had this problem of like, it kept us in the dark for a really long time, and then she finds a letter at the end of the book that just explains everything. So it's this massive exposition dump that just comes out of nowhere, and that's why I'm putting it on C, because I was like, you could have probably put more hints throughout the book to kind of like let us be like, oh, that's what it is. Because now I was like, oh, this is what we're doing? Oh, I guess that's okay, but I had no idea that was what was coming. So that exposition dump was just a bit of a weird choice. I'm gonna put this one in F. People are gonna get mad because it's a V.E. Schwab book, but I did not enjoy this book. I know there's probably much better books that she's written, so I will definitely give V.E. Schwab another chance, but for this book specifically, The Near Witch, I thought it was very... It feels like... I would recommend it to like an 11 or 12-year-old kid who's just getting into like spooky books. It was one of those books where I was like, oh, I already know exactly what you're gonna do. So I really was just not impressed by this. But I think it's one of her earliest books. If I'd read more of her, I'll probably just go with whatever is like most rated, most popular, and then see how I feel after that book. Yeah. Jackal. B tier? Maybe C? I think C. Oh, I could put it on the second line. It was very good, but something with the pacing for me. It was a bit of a slog to get through. But again, very interesting dynamics. The main character is a black lady who is from a very small town, and a childhood friend gets married, so she gets invited and is like, you know what, I should go see everyone. I should come back. So it's this really like awkward dynamic where she doesn't fit in. Everyone is like, oh, the city girl, you know? And it starts with a wedding and then goes really badly wrong. Someone goes missing, and then she's trying to figure out what happened. That's probably the most I can say without giving too much away, but it was very good. I felt bad for her because she was like she had a lot of hair issues. She tried to fit in with the white people. She shaved her hair, but she was trying to fit in, so she was wearing a wig. But where she went was like so humid and hot, and I felt so bad for her. I was like, just take the wig off, just let it go. Which I think eventually she does, so good for her. That's the most I remember, where I was like, oh, you must be so uncomfortable. I feel so bad. Then Masters of Death. I'm gonna put on, I think it's Olivia Blake. It's definitely Blake, but I don't know for sure the first name. It was fine, but it wasn't what I expected. It was very like, it was trying to be a comedy. It felt a bit like, not Percy Jackson. Holy shit, that's a different book. That's the author. He did The Long Earth. Terry Pratchett? He did the Discworld series. That's what I was thinking of. It feels a bit like Discworld, but not as good as Terry Pratchett. It tries to be like this witty, and it's like gods and death has a gambling problem. And then he has a son, and then the son is doing like his own thing, and he tries to be his own person. It actually builds a good world. It's well written. Like, I can't really complain too much about it. It just didn't really draw me in, and it kind of like went too whimsical almost, where I was just like, okay, everything is a joke now. Can we also like focus on these characters? I think I remember like an angel falling in love with a demon, which was interesting. If you're interested in that, I would say just go play Sorry, we're closed, the game, because that one's amazing. Then Haunting in the Arctic, I'm gonna put in D, not because it's bad. Like, it's not, these books are all still decent. I just didn't really like them. This one was just so brutal to read. Like, it has so much sexual assault. It was just really uncomfortable to read, and I just didn't really want to sit through all that. And then it basically is as much a horror story as it is just like how to process your trauma of being raped. So it kind of just made me uncomfortable, and I didn't really like it. And ever since, I have like 2 more of Cook's books. Cook is her name, the author. And I have 2 more of their books, and I just kind of am like, oh, I'm not ready yet, because I'm worried that every one of your books is like this. So I just haven't read more of it. But that is A Haunting in the Arctic. It's just so intense. It was way too heavy for me. I wasn't really comfortable reading that. Oh, and then, oh my god, followed up by Feast While You Can. Holy shit. I'll put it in C tier, because it was fine, but holy shit, this book was so spicy. I didn't realize I was getting into such a horny book. I was a bit like, holy shit, I did not expect that. It was good, but it's so horny. So just so you know, if you want a super horny, spicy horror book, read that one. It's basically like a lady gets possessed and the demon needs sex, so to satiate it. So she goes wild. Very horny. Ooh, another F1. The House on the Brink by John Gordon. I got this one because I was hoping it was like a haunted house, but it was a very old book. I think this one's like from the 70s or something. I kind of this was like a blind buy because I just saw House and it was in the horror section, but it wasn't really a horror book. It was kind of like a treasure hunt with 2 kids, but I could barely follow what was going on. It was really like dream-like how it was written. And I just remember being very disappointed when I finished it, so I just didn't like it. Final Girls Support Group, I'm gonna put in D as well. I don't know about you guys, but I didn't really like this book. All of these girls who basically are like the final girl still alive at the end of a horror movie, and they get together as like a support group to like bond, basically, so they're not alone, because they feel very alone and the world isn't the same anymore if you've been through something like that. This main character, she's like super paranoid. She has all of these like things in place, like don't go to the bus stop where you actually live, like go off 2 stops early and then walk in a weird line home so no one can follow you, like always keep the blinds closed, blah blah blah. Like, she's super paranoid, and she always seemed, or at the start she seemed like she had thought of everything, but then when shit actually happens, like she gets bested at every turn, and I'm like, oh, so what is all this prepping that you've done was for nothing? I didn't really, yeah, I feel like there's better books that Grady Hendrix wrote. Like the Haunted IKEA book was really, really good. I think that's Grady Hendrix. So this might be one of the weaker ones for me. Myra, I'm gonna put on C, close to D, but it's kind of like Eat the Ones You Love. Funny that they're right on top of each other. It was really well written though, but it was one of those again where the horror is really like in the background and it's more of a drama book. It was really well written, like honestly so good, but it was also, I think I read it right after Stolen Tongues, so I really was like, oh my god, every sentence is poetry. It's about Myra, or is Myra, I don't remember if Myra's the main character or the friend that she's obsessed with, but basically 2 friends. One stays behind in their shitty little town. The other one escapes to study in New York, go to college. So the one who stays, I think she's just too poor. Stuff doesn't really work out the way it needs to be for her to go to college, so she just stays behind. But then she starts to resent the friend that did go. She feels like she's left behind. At the same time, she was obsessed with her because she really like looked up to her and kind of had like unresolved feelings of like she had a crush on her. But not really understanding that she was gay. So there's so many, it's really interesting if you really want like in-depth characters, this is the book for you. There's so much depth to them. Their emotions are so complicated. It was really a really nice read just for that. And then there is a haunted house, kind of something in the background that only really comes into the foreground at the end. So that's why I'm putting it in C. Just horror-wise, I didn't really get what I wanted out of it, but it was so well written. Definitely a way with words. Gonzalez, very good. Alice, I might put it in D. I did enjoy it though. Not that I didn't enjoy it, but I have no motivation to read the sequels. It's Alice in Wonderland, but it's like a horror version, young adult kinda. Well, maybe not young adult. It is really dark. What you call it? Like they sell people. What's the word again? Trafficking. Yes, human trafficking. Yes. It was way more dark than I thought, but there is some magic there as well. So I'm kind of into it. Maybe I'll read the sequel someday, but it also was just like, I think I would get more out of like just reading the original Alice in Wonderland. So I'll leave it there. Which is interesting because that's Christina Henry, and this one is also Christina Henry, but this one I will put on C. This is a very fun book if you like Cabin in the Woods, the movie. It's very similar to that. I won't tell you much more because then I would be giving away too much. It was very interesting. The ending, maybe not so much, but it was a really good mystery, kind of like escape room kind of vibe throughout. More sci-fi than I expected. More sci-fi than horror maybe, but if you like Cabin in the Woods, I think you would enjoy this one. C or D for this one. 20th anniversary screening by Jeff Strand. It was fine, but it wasn't... yeah, maybe C. It's a really short book. It doesn't really go into depth very much, but it's kind of just like a bunch of different... There's a screening happening, a 20th anniversary screening of a movie that has a very troublesome past. And this guy who just doesn't give a shit is like, you know what? I need something to bring in money, so I'm going to show this movie again that is basically banned. Then you read a bunch of POVs of people who have bad intentions to show up that day and actually kill people, etc. But because so many people planned it, they kind of are all blocking each other. They're all in each other's way. So that was very interesting. It was a good read for what it was, for the short read that it was. Basilisk is another F tier, which is funny because that's 2 books now titled Basilisk in the F tier. I thought both of these were very boring. Masterton, there's a couple other Mastertons I've read that I'll definitely put much higher, but this is definitely the worst Masterton that I've read. I thought it was so boring. He really didn't know how to get his characters from A to B. The motivations didn't make any sense. He kind of was just like, I want these people to be in this location by the end of the book, and then didn't make sense how he got them there. Didn't like it. I think this is another F tier, actually. I thought this was so boring. Such a boring book, and I'm normally not picky when it comes to haunted house books. I'm like, ooh, spooky, I like it. This one was so boring. I can't even remember what it's about, except that I thought it was so boring. A novel of a house haunted by an ancient evil, a tale of lies, envy, and curses spanning generations. Mike Gray is still reeling from the sudden death of his father when he inherits Willow House, his father's childhood home. Keen to move out of the city, Mike decides to move his young family to the small quaint town of Fairview. But not all is right at Willow House. There are dark forces at work which threaten to destroy what remains of the Gray family. That's how boring it was. I can't even remember what the book is about. So I'm gonna leave it in F tier. Camp Slaughter. I'm gonna put in C. It was a good book. It really just knew what it was. It was just a slasher book. Everything kind of just happens. And it's really brutal. Like, it really leans into the big, like, machete kind of kills. Who is that? Friday the 13th? Machete? It's really like that kind of vibe. So if you like those movies, you will like this book. I think it was very good as a slasher book. Very intense gore. Yeah. It just knew what it was. And I think there's sequels as well. So I might read more of that at some point, but not in a rush or anything. It didn't, like, blow me away or anything. It was just fun slasher book. Then this one, I was playing a game recently where I mentioned, Botany Manor, where I mentioned, like, that I know about the pH levels of soil changing the flower color of hydrangeas. I might be pronouncing that wrong, but that's this book. I might put it in D because I remember that was an interesting plot twist, or that was interesting about the book, but most of it I was kind of just, it was really well written, like really nice prose, but it felt too predictable. I guess I've just seen too many horror movies and read too many books at this point, where this book was just like not doing anything new. I'll put this slasher with this slasher because I think they're both pretty much on par. Heads Will Roll by Winning. Except for Heads Will Roll was very fun in a modern sense. This one really felt like it was happening now. It was basically a bunch of people who either were getting cancelled online or were addicted to being online. So they go to this camp where they have to put their phones in lockers where they can't access them, and they kind of have to like reconnect with nature. There is an actual stalker or slasher killer in the woods. I won't give much more away, but it was just a good slasher, people disappearing one by one, you know, that kind of vibe. But it was very interesting to see how they were all so addicted to their phones and just like had to have someone lock it away from them for them to function as normal people again. So it was good. Ghost music. I'm gonna put in D. It was slightly better than Basilisk because it had a mystery that I could not crack until the very end, and the payoff was good, but it was, again, the way to get there for Masterton was just like a very bumpy road. Let's put it at that. Like, the main character was so dumb. Oh my god, he would just not put stuff together where I'm just like, just accept the situation. Ghosts are obviously real. But the whole book, he would just be like, no, it can't be. I refuse to admit it. And it's like, oh my god, dude, how much evidence do you need? So that was kind of like, But it had a cool payoff. It had like some ghost phenomena that I couldn't crack until it was kind of like explained to me. So that was good. That's why I'm putting it in D. This will be a C as well, I think. Yeah, this is the Christmas book I read that is based on the people who invented Cluedo. Just a very, like, safe murder mystery kind of book. A little twist here and there. These people know these people, blah, blah. It was good, but, like, it's nothing crazy or anything. But there is another Christmas book that I read. That's why I'm putting that one in C, because I want to put this one in D. Because this one's also a murder mystery Christmas book, and it was fine, but it was a little harder to get through. It was a bit more like silly at times. Like, the main cop gets hit on the head and passes out so many times, only to then wake up tied up somewhere. And after a while, I was like, okay, come on now. So between those two, I would recommend The Christmas Clue over Murder at Holly House. But they were both good. They were both like nice Christmas reads, murder mystery books. The Hacienda, ooh, that one was good. I'll definitely put that one on B. If not A, but I think B. I would put Mexican Gothic on A, which feels like very similar to Hacienda. This, I don't know if it was Spain that it took place in. But yeah, it's this lady who gets married into a family. She's desperate, so she kind of like says yes to the marriage immediately without really looking into who the family is. And then when she actually gets there, the family's quite cruel. She has a rough time like adjusting to it, and the house is fucking haunted. And most of them avoid the house. So the husband comes with her and then immediately leaves for business on travels. There is a sister in the house, but she sleeps in like a little shed outside of the house. So everyone is obviously avoiding the house, and the house goes fucking crazy when at nighttime. So the more nights she spends in the house, the closer she will be to death. Like, she's about to get murdered by the ghosts in this house. So it was really intense, really good. You're only really safe in the light, but it takes place like a long time ago. The house doesn't have electricity. So the only way she can stay in the light is with candles, but the ghosts can blow out the candles. So it was very tense, like her like fighting for her life, keeping this candle lit, basically. Really intense. Has a really good like love story in the background. which was a really nice one. I really liked it. Yeah, I think this was just a very strong book throughout. Yeah. But maybe A tier. I'll move it to A for now. I might move it back to B, but I think it's a stronger book than some of the other ones I put on B, so I'll put it on A. Ooh, This Thing Between Us. I think that's an S tier book. Warning, it's very sad and lots of things die, including pets. So it's very, very sad. So you have to be ready for it. But it's so good. It was really well written. You really feel for the main character. So it's depressing, but at the same time, it makes sense for the book. And it's like a possession. It's a possession book, and it starts kind of like, your Alexa is haunted, like kind of like a comedy almost, but it gets so dark and so sad until this main character is just stripped away of everything he's loved until he is just at his lowest point. And that's kind of like what the book is about. Like, this demon is literally terrorizing him, trying to bring him to his lowest point, basically, and succeeding. It's very sad. And I just remember there's one point where he breaks down and he's just like crying on the floor because he's so lonely. And then his dog comes up to him and it's just like, it's okay, buddy, I'm here. And it's like, oh my God, it's so sad. It was really sad, but it was so good. Then The Marginal, I think I'll put on B. If this is the book I think it is, I was very impressed by this one, but I need to make sure I'm not thinking of the wrong book. Yes. Okay, so this one was very good. I almost would, you know what? I should put more in A tier. I think I might put this on A tier just because I'm a huge fan of The Thing. So it's that kind of body horror, just so you know. Yeah, it says perfect for fans of Adam Neville and John Carpenter. I'm a huge Carpenter fan, so that's why. It's about a guy who has escaped a cult when he was a kid, but his brother chose to stay. So his brother stays in the cult, no contact until one day someone from the cult contacts him and is like, your brother died. And he's immediately like, okay, I'm coming to pick up his body, even though the cult is like, no, he belongs with us. He's like, no, I'm coming to get him. And then the cult is super interesting because the guy who escaped the cult obviously doesn't believe in what they're doing. And the cult is based around... It's so interesting. So the whole thing that the cult does is they all spend time during the day reading a book, any written word. It can be anything, but they have to look at the page and read the stuff and then see whatever they feel a connection to. So whatever sentence pops out to them, whichever feels like it's trying to get their attention, they write down as a separate quote. And they all have like this little Rolodex of quotes that they basically use as like a magic 8-ball, that when they're not sure what to do, they just grab a random card and then use that for guidance. It's so fascinating. Like, I've never really read anything like it. And I flew through this book, so I think, yeah, it deserves to be on A tier. But again, it's kind of like the body horror from The Thing, shit that starts happening. I won't give too much away. But yeah, people are like exploding and growing wildly and stuff. And I will, if you're interested in that is Marginal I'm talking about. Marginal by Tom Carlyle. This was such a surprise because I got this book in like a book box. So I probably wouldn't even have picked up this book by myself because the premise didn't sound super interesting. So I was really surprised by this book, and it still kind of like sticks with me. The fact that I read this like earlier this year and I can tell in so much detail what was happening in it, I would almost like reread that book, I think. I really enjoyed that one. Oh, this one I need to look up again. Rookwood House. Because again, they're all the same. They're all like Haunting of Something House. It's also funny because Darcy Coates has multiple books where someone inherits a house and then decides to camp in it as they're renovating the house. So it's kind of hard to... Yeah. Okay, no, this is the one. This one's very creepy. This one will go to A tier as well. Maybe even S. But no, A. This one is good. It's a guy called Guy. His name is Guy, who inherits a house, but it was kind of forgotten. He finds the deed to the house in his mom's attic. So she completely missed the fact that she had another house under her name. And he is really struggling. He's jobless. So he's like, you know what, Mom? I'm going to go to that house and I'm going to fix it. That'll be my project and I will feel useful again. And then the haunting of that house, and when you find out what actually happened in that house in the past, is so creepy. Really creepy, really good. Good ghost, good story, good reveal. Creepy. I like it. If you like haunted houses, this would be a good one to jump into. Okay, now we get, I made it to Darcy Coates' series, and I have no idea in which order these are, so hold on. The Gravekeeper series, okay. So The Whispering Dead is 1. So this is number 1. I think I would put it on D. Overall, I wasn't super impressed by this series. It's very like young adult. It lacked the depth that I find in her other books. It was like a really super easy read, and for that reason, I thought it was fine. Like, it's not terrible, but it gets kind of crazy. Like, the main character has amnesia, so she doesn't know anything about her life, but she suddenly knows, like, oh, I know how to do this, I know how to fight. She feels like a super spy that lost her memory, so it's kind of like a little too crazy at times, but she hides out in a little shed in a graveyard, and then the priest kind of like is like, I'll help you out, you can stay here as long as you need. I needed a graveyard keeper anyway, so and she can see ghosts. So she wants to help out people in town who are haunted by ghosts, while FBI looking people are trying to hunt her down, and she's some kind of super spy being hunted down by the FBI. So it's kind of crazy, a little silly. So I'll put, I'll put 1 in D. There were some that I liked more than others though. Let's see what happened in 2, because I read them all so quickly back to back. 2 was a bit better, I think. 2 goes into a serial killer more. That's The Ravenous Dead, so I'll put that one on C. I think 3 I liked the most. Dane Crispin, yeah. So 3 is Twisted Dead, so I'll put B. I think they're not going to get higher than C, honestly. Like, they're fun, light reads if you want, like, turn your brain off and read kind of books. But I wouldn't give them that much credit, so I'm actually just gonna put maybe, okay, and the last one was definitely like a good tie a bow around the whole thing kind of book, so I'll put that one on C, and then the 4th one, The Hollow Dead, I think was a bit weaker again. Yeah, I would put it in that order. I think 2, 3, and 5 are a bit better, and 1 and 4 I was kind of like, yeah, sure. I bought them all at the same time. I bought 1 to 4 at the same time because 5 was coming out the next month. So then I kind of already bought them, so I was like, I might as well read them then. So as a series, I was like, but they're fine. This one though, this one is good. I might put this S tier. I think this one is legit so good. It's almost like a horror comedy in a way. Without giving too much away, it's about a girl who used to be in a cult of some kind. I won't say what kind of cult, but she gets invited back for a wedding, and she's like, well, why the fuck not? I might as well go. And of course, she should have never come back. That is Black Sheep by Rachel Harrison. Yeah, very good. That one was legit. Good twists where I was like, oh fuck, is this what we're doing? And a crazy nuts ending. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. Oh, another Darcy Coates. Gillespie House this time. Hidden near the edge of the woods, an hour's drive from the nearest town, dark rooms and rich furniture entice her to explore its secrets. There's even a graveyard hidden behind the house, filled with tombstones that bear an identical year of death. Oh, this one. If only the scratching in the walls would be quiet. This one's good. This one's good. That's a I think a B tier. It's just a little under Rookwood House, I would say. But a good mystery, a good like what is causing the scratching in the walls kind of mystery, and it has like secret alcoves and tunnels in the house. So if you like a good haunted manor kind of thing, you'll get what you want out of this book, Haunting of Gillespie House. Okay. Then Simone St. James, The Sundown Motel. I'm gonna put it in D. It was good, but it wasn't quite what I wanted out of the book. I also can barely remember it. It's like, I think it's a serial killer. I think it's a serial killer, and there's like multiple locations where there was a victim, and the daughter of one of the victims thinks that her mom used to work at this motel before she disappeared, so she gets a job at the same motel. And it has a good story, it has a good payoff, but it kind of felt a bit too simple at times. I don't think there's a sequel or anything. There might be a sequel the way it ends, but... So if there's a sequel, I might give it another shot, but... Then this one... I would almost put this in F tier just because I have talked about this before. I think this book is a little transphobic. It's written certain gender aspects in such a way that it could be quite harmful. I think I'll have to put it in F tier. I don't really feel comfortable with this book. And which is sad because it was quite decent all the way through until the end. And I remembered, I totally forgot to even mention this, but aside from that aspect, the transphobic stuff, there's also a bit where one of the friends is gay, which obviously is totally fine, of course, but she's in love with her childhood friend, who's also in the same friend group, and she's straight. So the gay lady confesses her feelings. The other lady's like, obviously I love you as a friend, but I'm not gay. Then the gay lady is kind of like, well, you don't know it until you try. And the other lady's like, I mean, I know I'm straight. And it kind of just really pushes that. And then she kind of takes advantage of her friend having like crazy trauma, PTSD, because she's so scared of being alone at night. So she really needs her company. And yeah, it kind of feels super forced. She says something like, well, I've never done skydiving and I know that's not for me. And then at the end of the book, she's literally like, I'm going to take you skydiving. And I'm like, maybe she's just really not into you, you know? Like, I didn't really like it. It made me feel a little icky. Yeah, that's why it's going to be an F tier. And it's a shame because it has this perfect like Lovecraftian Scooby-Doo combo going on, which could have been so good, but it just really fucked up the personal dynamics and gender roles. So for that reason, it's going to be an F for me. That was Meddling Kids, yes. Sorry, I didn't mention it properly. Then we're gonna get to Heckless Children, which is one of the few books I actually left 5 stars on. So I think for that reason I have to put it in S tier. It was one of those books where the story is just so crazy. It does this massive time loop, different dimensions, time dilation, where it basically, think about it as like someone spends so much time in the back rooms that they just forget that there's basically a world to get back to, and they just have a whole life in the back rooms. Kind of that kind of feeling where I was in that other dimension for so long that I forgot that there was a whole overarching story to get back to by the end. So there was like a story in the story, and the story in that story was so good that I kind of just forgot, and I was like, holy shit, this goes so deep. Genuinely so impressed by this book that I think for that reason I will put it in S tier. Yeah, it's really good. It's about a group of kids who go missing in the mountains. One girl in the group shows up again, the rest stays missing. But even though she was only missing she showed up a day later, she had signs of starvation, like she was missing for 2 weeks, and she's heavily traumatized. That's the start of the book, and then you kind of find out what goes on in those woods and where people who disappear actually go to, and it's really good. That's Heckless Children. Really, really impressive time loop kind of book. Okay, we're getting there. Holy shit. The Dark Between the Trees. I think this is Barnet. I might put it on D. This book could have been amazing, but it didn't. It set up this amazing, again, time dilation thing in the woods. Interesting that they came back to back. It actually has quite some overlap with Hecla's Children in that people in different times go missing in these woods, but once they're missing in the woods, they kind of all like time ripples and they kind of like meet each other randomly. So someone who goes missing in the First World War meets someone in current day who is trying to make a documentary on the woods. Like, it's such an interesting concept, and it could have really done something amazing with that, and then it kind of just doesn't. So that's why I put The Dark Between the Trees in D, because it just didn't really deliver. Now this is crazy. I know it's Darcy Coates, but I'm gonna have to put her in F tier for this one. Dead of Winter. I really didn't like this book. Holy shit. The characters were so annoying and so dumb. The whole book. There was a chase scene at the end that was kind of good, and that is literally the only good thing about this book, and I really didn't like it. And some people really like this book, so I think it might be one of those books where it's like, turn your brain off and read it, then it's probably fine, but I was so analytical of... It kind of felt like an Among Us setup, where all of these people get stuck in a cabin together, they get snowed in, and then one by one these people start dying. So they think like, okay, one among us has to be a killer. So it kind of is like that, ooh, who is it? Who can you trust kind of vibe. But then they're all like, okay, we have to stick together. No one goes out alone. And then they just keep fucking wandering off alone and getting killed. It was just so frustrating. It's like, you're all saying like, we should stick together, and then fucking no one does it. It was just frustrating read for me. I didn't like it. These Silent Woods. I think this is like, the first book I read in 2025, so it's a bit hazy. But I think it's a father and his child hiding out in the woods. Oh god, Grant is the author. Kimmy Cunningham Grant. Yeah, no family, no connection to the outside world. It is this book. For 8 years, Cooper and his young daughter Finch have lived in isolation in a remote cabin in northern Appalachian woods. That's exactly the way Cooper wants it, because he's got a lot to hide. So I'm putting it in D because the whole book, it actually has a really like emotional ending, and I almost cried reading it. So it really got me in the feels in the end, but the whole book is kind of like miserable, where the girl is just getting too old to be so isolated in the woods. Like, she needs to go to school. She needs more than the fucking 10 books he gave her to read. Like, you can really tell she's like pushing her boundaries. She's really feeling the isolation and the limits of what she's allowed to do. But he's hiding for a reason. It obviously escalates because she wants to experience the real world. She has no idea what her dad has done in the past. I'll leave it at that. But it's the whole book itself, it's just like, I was angry at the dad for doing this to this girl, like isolating her like that. She deserves a better life. So the whole time I was kind of like, I don't like it. So that's why I'm putting it in D. Red Rabbit, Grecian. This is a Western horror, cowboy horror. It was good. I should put it in C, but I'm kind of like inclined to put it in D just because, again, this is the same problem that I have with like the Witch Hunt America era. I just find it kind of boring for some reason. Cowboys are the same. This is more a flaw on my part that I read it and it was really good, but something about the setting, like, I just thought it was kind of boring. Like, people riding around on their horses. I'll put it on C. There are some it kind of reminded me of Between Two Fires. It's like a group of people trying to get somewhere, and you get this like unlikely group of allies. People not trusting people, thinking other people are witches, and then there is actual magic in it, so that's cool. So if you fucking love cowboys, then this book is for you. But I thought it was good despite not liking the cowboy setting. That's why it has to be in C tier, because I managed to read it and enjoy it, even though it's a cowboy book. So we'll leave it at that. Whisper Down the Lane by Chapman is next. It was legit good, but holy shit was this book depressing. It takes place during, I think it's like the 80s, where there was kind of like this, there's a word for it. It's like during America's time where they were really scared of like demon. It's like the 80s where everything was like devil worship. Like even D&D was like devil worship, and you can't let your kids listen to certain music. Satanic Panic. That was it. Thank you. Oh my God, you guys are so smart. It's a book based around the Satanic Panic of the time. Oh my God, it's so depressing. It's basically these parents who are convinced that their kids are being molested by the teacher for satanic rituals, and none of it is true, but they're just so convinced that they destroy this person's life. And then the book is about how this trauma and the problems that they've caused go down generation after generation. So it's just really depressing. It's a really good read if you like those kind of dramas. Because there's nothing supernatural about this book. Oh, well, maybe. There's some stuff that maybe could be like, oh. But mostly it's about the interpersonal drama, parents not trusting the teachers, and just destroying their lives. You know, how rumors just... That's why it's called Whisper Down the Lane, because all the parents are whispering amongst each other. The rumors spread, even if they're not true. They literally can cancel someone and destroy their life. And it's genuinely so well written. And it's interesting how something like This Thing Between Us, which is also so depressing, did click with me. But then this one, I'm like, oh, you're just so sad for the sake of it. And I just didn't really like the characters are kind of unlikable for the shit that they do. That they're all just like horrible people, and it just make me not feel good. So that's why I'm putting it in D tier. But if you like a good drama with dark histories between people, I don't know how to explain it, but then you might actually like the book. It is really well written. It is Chapman, but holy shit, was it depressing. This is an S tier book. Bad Cree by Johns, I think. Jessica Johns? Do you say Jessica Jones? Because it is Johns. So I think it's Johns. Jessica Johns. Yeah, it's because of Jessica Jones that I'm kind of like, should I say it differently? But Bad Cree by Jessica Johns is so cool, and it was so well written. It's I want to say Native American. I read it a long time ago, but I think they're a Native American family, and they all have, every family member has a kind of different dream-related power. And the main character kind of broke off from the family. She wanted to live in the big city, but she's plagued by these dreams that eventually it gets so bad that her family is just like, you have to come home and we will figure this out. And the family is just, I felt so lonely reading this book because it's such a tight-knit, loving family that I just felt this like deep-seated envy that my family's not like that. Like everyone gathers around the table. They're always making food for each other, making sure everyone's eating. The cousins all talk to each other about their dreams and what they think it means. And I think someone died when they were kids. And then she's still having nightmares about that she comes back, and then they are gonna find the monster responsible for what happened and defeat it. Like properly written Native American folklore, just really good. But yeah, it was mostly what got to me was like this family, how well written they were and how they just were there for each other and loved each other. They all had their issues, but they were just so tight-knit. It gave me a very specific feeling reading this book. A very kind of like longing. Oh, it was so good. Yes. Then Ghost Roots. Ghost Roots. This was the I want to say it was an African book. I think I'm gonna put it on D. It was short stories, so there's just not much of a connection you can build with short stories. That's why I, in general, don't really like short stories. But yeah, this is Ghost Roots by Aguda. It is very good. It is well written, but most of the stories revolved around motherhood and pregnancy, which obviously I have nothing to do with, so I just couldn't really connect with the book in that way, which is why I'm putting it in D tier. Then Hunted, Darcy Coates. I want to say C or D. You know what? If I put the Graveyard Keeper in C, I should put this in C. This was maybe even B. This was no. Gillespie's B. No, definitely not Gillespie level. This one was pretty good. The red thread you can see on the cover was a big thing in the book, which was really cool. This was more of a thriller. It's like multiple POVs. Someone goes missing in the woods, and multiple different people try to find this person in their own way. It's a bunch of people getting lost and hunted in the woods, and it's quite tense. So that's Hunted by Darcy Coates. And normally, because of Dead of Winter, and I disliked it so much, I was very hesitant to read another like thriller and not Supernatural, because Supernatural, she hits for me. Like, Supernatural, good. But then more thriller level stuff has been a bit of a miss for me, so I was a bit hesitant, but it did pull it together and it was quite good. So I'm gonna put that one in C for that reason. Then Junji Ito's Frankenstein. So this is the only manga entry, which is like a bit of a wild card. I'll put it in A. It is just, I mean, it's Junji Ito. Junji Ito's fucking amazing. It's his interpretation of Frankenstein, which I actually read instead of the book. I should really read the original book. Maybe this year I will, since last year I did Dracula. Maybe this year I'll read Frankenstein. But I read this one instead of the actual book because I was like, this will be easier to get through. And it was really well written, or well drawn. And the monster was like really creepy and gross because Junji Ito is really good at that. So it's just really well drawn. I think it was just good, you know? You can't really go wrong with Junji Ito most times. Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. Another one by Chapman. So this was the first Chapman I read. And I think this one was really good. I would give it an A tier, I think. So this is like he did with Satanic Panic. This one is actually pandemic. So this book focuses on 2020 pandemic. So very recent. And you know how we got that huge divide during COVID of like Fox News people who are just like, the vaccine is fake, you shouldn't trust it, they're all trying to brainwash you, and then actual real people who are like, you're the one who's brainwashed. You get this huge divide between pro-vax, anti-vax, and that is kind of what instigated this book. It's not about vaccinations or anything, but it's about people getting possessed through their TVs and media, which was so interesting. And instead of Fox News, it's Fax News, and it's just the facts. Which was very smart. It's so interesting. It's the main character has his parents. He doesn't really get along with them because they're very racist. They don't like immigrants, those kind of people. But they're his family, so he doesn't hear from them after some worrying. Like the mom texts something crazy, like, "Oh my God, the immigrants are coming for us," and then goes silent. So he's like, "Okay, I have to go see them and see if she's okay." And she is not okay, let me tell you. It's basically like the media, either TV shows or social media, is just trying to get in their heads and brainwashing them and literally possessing them. So it is supernatural, and they get possessed through this media. Like they get completely convinced that and there's different versions. So the mom is like Fax News, and then there's a young boy who gets obsessed with it's Baby Shark, but it's like he changed it in a way that it's not Baby Shark, but it's like something like that, like Ghosty Shark or something. Ghosty Shark, do 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 do, and he just keeps listening to it over and over and over and over. So that's the kid, and then there's a mom who's like wants to be an influencer. She gets obsessed with like other diet influencers, and then it all like they all have their own scenarios, and let's completely like gets out of hand, and then leads to this massive like possession wave through the country. Yeah, it was this was like the first book I read of him, and it blew me away. This was also one of those like Ghost Eaters where I was just along for the ride. Like I just felt like I was being pushed through the book so effortlessly. And it's so gross at times too. Ooh. He really has a thing in both these books. He has a thing for like people licking your ears. And it's so gross. Like they lick the inside of your ear. Ooh. Like they're trying to get into your skull and it's so gross. Yeah, well done. Ooh. Very good. Jolly good. This is I know this is very hard to look at, but this is Heuvelts. He's a Dutch author. He wrote Hex and he wrote Echo after that. So they're not related, but just that he's the author of Hex and he also wrote a book called Echo. And I really didn't like it. It's almost in D tier, but I'm gonna have to put it in F tier. It had some really good, like really cool stuff happening, but I just did not like what they were doing and how they went about it. And the book has such a strong beginning. The opening is crazy. Like it's a lady who is in bed and she wakes up in the middle of the night and she goes up to go to the bathroom and then she sees people at the bottom of the stairs just standing there. And every time she blinks or looks away, they come closer. And I was like, holy shit, that's so scary. And then she gets pushed back all the way onto her bed, like in the corner. And then every time she blinks, they're just closer and closer and closer. And then she doesn't know what to do. And she just hides under the covers. And I was like, oh my God, this book is going to be amazing. And then the whole book did nothing like that. It didn't even come back. And I was like, what the fuck? Why do you put this in the intro? And then it just doesn't even come back for the entire book. I just didn't. I think he set me up too strongly in the beginning so that the rest of the book was just disappointment. It's about a guy who goes hiking, but he hikes a mountain that he's not supposed to hike. Like it's not on the map for a reason. People around there are trying to hide it. But then every now and then people spot the mountain and they're drawn to it. The concept is pretty cool. So he hikes up the mountain, goes missing, and then they find him. A helicopter finds him later on, and his face is all fucked, like someone attacked him with an axe. But he survived, and then he brought some entity back with him from the mountain. That's basically the story, and then the story is about how to fix that, how to get rid of the possession. Between those two, Hex is better. I didn't like it. Yeah, that was Echo. Then this one is A Short Stay in Hell. That has to be A tier. It's a mind-boggling book. It's just a novella. It's a really short book. It's about where people go after death. And apparently there's only one true religion. And it was like, I already don't remember, but it's none of our current religions. Like it was an ancient religion that died out, basically. So people are put in chairs and the devil is like, yeah, you're a Mormon, you're a Christian, you all were believing in the wrong thing, and for that you're going to hell. It's like a comedy at times, but then it also gets really serious at times. So the main character is a Mormon who then has to come to grips with that he was wrong and Mormonism was not the right religion. And his hell that he gets put in with millions of other people is a library full of books, but the books are either empty or filled with tiny bits of gibberish. And the devil tells him, you can leave once you find your book with your entire life story in it. Zoroastrianism, that's it. That's the only one true religion according to this book. Yeah. And there's so many people that he encounters in this massive library, and they try to calculate the scale of it, and people go out on expeditions to see how far the roads go, and they literally walk for years and come back after like 5 years on an expedition, and they're like, it just keeps going, and we just had to turn back. And the same height-wise, people fall off and they fall forever until they try and like fall in between shelves to try and survive. And you can't die because you're already in hell. So if someone kills you or murders you in hell, you just are revived the next day. And it's so interesting because what are these people going to do that are in there for all eternity? It's such a short book and there's so much I can tell you about it. It's really, really good. Actually, yeah, That should be S tier. It's so good. It really makes you think. The scale of it is mind-boggling, and what these people do for the whole eternity that they're stuck there, because no one is obviously going to find their own book. Also, the interesting parts about Mormonism that I didn't even know, that apparently Mormons can't have caffeine. So he comes to grips with like, okay, so Mormonism is not it. And he tries a coffee and he's like, oh, I don't like it. It was really sweet. There's like so many cool things about this book. So I really recommend this. Is such a short read and it'll be amazing, I promise. Oh, we're getting there. How long has it been? 2 hours. Whew. Okay, The Hollow Kind. This was another book that was given to me. The Redfern family, right. Haunted by an ancient evil. Nellie Gardner is looking for a way out of an abusive marriage when she learns that her long-lost grandfather, August Redfern, has willed her in his turpentine estate. She throws everything she can think of in a bag, flees to Georgia with her 11-year-old son, Max. Oh, I thought it was a daughter, so I misremembered. It turns out that the estate is a decrepit farmhouse on 1,000 acres of old pine forest, but Nellie is thrilled about the chance for a fresh start for her and Max. Yeah, it was a good book, but I barely remember it though. I'll put it in C tier. It was good. It was like, not only is the house actually haunted by some entity, but there's also like people who are eyeing the land, because she inherits like this massive plot. So there's this guy who comes in who's like trying to cheat her out of it. He tries to like force her to sell parts of the land to him, and she doesn't want to. So there's this like, not only is there this haunting going on, but there's also this really tension with this guy who's just trying to get her out of the way, really, and it gets really dangerous. So that was good. I would it's kind of comparable to Ghost of Mary Hall in a weird way, feeling wise, with like how these mothers are trying to get away and trying to just find somewhere to live and start over. But I think I would put it in C, yeah, especially next to like Jackal and Myra. I don't think it's above those. Okay, this is a C or a D. I think a C because I did really enjoy it. The Dead Take the A Train. I think it's Kaw is the author. But yeah, it's an interesting one. It's like a Jessica Jones is the detective lady, right? And she's kind of like rough around the edges. So the main character feels a lot like that, but then it's not just like, not like Jessica Jones, but it's like magic. But it's also like quite dirty magic. Like you have to put your blood into it and stuff. And like, it's kind of like a bunch of weird spells that take a lot of time to prepare and use, and they come at a cost. And this lady is really broke, and she gets hired to do people's dirty work. It's a really gory book with the humor of kind of like bluntness of Jessica Jones. It was good, but yeah, I think I'll put it in C. I think it might have a sequel someday, and I would definitely read a sequel if it got a sequel. Does that make sense? So that is The Dead Take the A Train. I know these things are tiny, but I do have all of this on my Goodreads, so if you just look at my year in books, these are all there, so you can probably find it at a glance. Stephen King's Finders Keepers, I'm gonna put it in D. It's part 2 of the trilogy. Mr. Mercedes is number 1. I think Mr. Mercedes was stronger, because Mr. Mercedes I can remember, and this one I can barely remember. I remember I liked it, and it finally gets a little supernatural towards the end, which means that the third book will finally be supernatural. But it's interesting that he does a trilogy that starts as like a cop thriller, very down to earth, realistic, and then it slowly is going into supernatural territory. So that in itself is very interesting, but I can read thrillers, but I'm here for the supernatural part. So I started reading this trilogy because I know that Holly, the character in this trilogy, gets her own books down the line, and she gets her own stories. So I'm like, I want to read this trilogy so that I really have read everything that Holly is in. But yeah, it was a bit of a rough read. Like a bit boring, and then There's like a couple chapters where I'm like, yes, this is interesting, and then it's just that. It's a couple chapters. So once I read this third book, I will finally get to the good stuff, I think. Hopefully. But yeah, I'll have to let you guys know whether it's worth it or not. Yeah. Oh, another Stephen King, Skeleton Crew. I'm gonna put it in D as well, just because it's short stories, and some were really good and then some were awful. So it just has to meet in the middle at like a D tier, I think. Some were really good, and I was like, holy shit, that was crazy. Like, I still remember one short story about a guy who ends up stranded on an island and obviously goes hungry, and how far is he gonna go to satiate that hunger? It was crazy. And it was just a short story, but it left a huge impact. And then other stories I was like, oh my god, this was just such a waste of time to read. So it's such a mixed bag for me. I would only recommend it if you like Stephen King, honestly. He's really hit or miss for me. Some stuff I think is fucking amazing, and then other books I'm like, wasted my time reading this. Anyway, after that we have Incidents Around the House, and that is another really good one. I would probably put it on A tier just because it's very memorable and very creepy. Oh yeah, yes. So this is from the POV of a little girl who is haunted by a really tall woman who lives in her closet. But she's obviously very young, so she doesn't see why this is terrifying, and she kind of just goes along with it because she's lonely and she sees the entity as like a friend. But every now and then this entity goes like, let me into your heart. So we, as the observer, we understand that the entity is trying to possess her and take her over her body. And she's very young, so she doesn't really see the danger, but she's just smart enough to be like, no, I don't think I should. And then once her parents, but it's all from her POV. So once her parents see the entity, they freak out, obviously. And they try to flee and hunt, but she will hunt them down wherever they go. It was very, very well written because the woman was so creepy, and she kind of like slithers along the floor like a snake. She was very creepy. She was so well written. Yeah, I recommend this one to anyone just for the creep factor. Ooh. Then I read my first Malfi, I think, Bone White. I'm probably gonna say D tier. It was good. It was like Alaskan snowy wilderness, small town. The locals obviously know what's going on, but they don't really want an outsider to mess with them. So they try and like push him out and get rid of him as best they can, but he's just so pushy and he wants to know what happened to his brother who disappeared, and his car was found outside that town. It was a good like folklore type of horror, creature in the woods, with a nice payoff. It was a bit slow to get through, but I did like it. Maybe it's more of a C tier. I think it had a good payoff. Yeah, just about a C tier. If you like stuff like The Ritual, I think you would like this book. Like that kind of creature in the woods kind of thing. Then Burnt Offerings. This is an old book, like 70s maybe? I would have to look it up. What's the author? Manasco, I think. I'm gonna put it in C. It is very good though, but it was old. This is the book. So the reason I read this is the book that inspired The Shining. And let me tell you, when you read this, you're like, oh, The Shining feels like a ripoff now. It has a lot of overlap with The Shining, but just different enough that it's its own thing. The themes that it has in common with The Shining is like the house is almost like alive, almost like an entity. And it's very interesting. Despite its age, it was a good read. It was a bit stiff at times, but I saw all the overlap with The Shining, and for that alone, if you're a huge Shining fan, I would say give this book a read because it's just so interesting to see how The Shining was inspired by this book. The Shining is a fan fiction of this book. Well, it took like some of the ideas, like the house being an entity of its own, and kind of like morphed that into the hotel. Stephen King basically took that idea and made it much bigger in scale, much grander. But it definitely has quite some overlap. So I think if you love The Shining, it's a very interesting read just to see where it started, basically. It's fun. Ooh, another Masterton, House at Phantom Park. So we have Masterton there, Basilisk, and we have Masterton here with ghost music. But I would say Phantom Park might be B tier. I think after House of 100 Whispers, House at Phantom Park is my favorite of Masterton's. So it's number 2 in the ranking for Masterton books for me. Just because it's fucking nuts. I think I still remember that it's page 117 because my friend gave me this book. She read it and she was like, oh my god, dude. Special note in the book, page 117. What the fuck? So I was like, okay, we'll see. And then I got there and I was like, what? Which was really fun. I think that made the book go up in ranking because like that, sharing that with a friend and then getting to that point was just so fun. Yeah. And it's just crazy. I think it's an asylum that's being renovated into an apartment building. I think that was it. But then, yeah, it has this crazy shit with like at night you can basically see the patients, the former patients' ghosts are all still stuck in the building and they're obviously creepy. Again, it gave me like Grave Encounters vibes, ghost-wise. But yeah, I don't even want to give it away, but what happens to the people who get like basically infected by the house is fucking nuts. Very fun. Ooh, Blackwater. This is another oldie, so I think I'm just gonna put it with Burnt Offerings. It was good. It's written by McDowell, and I think he wrote Beetlejuice. Let me check to be sure. It's something like that. He wrote something that I was like, huh? Oh yeah, his best known work is screenplay for Beetlejuice. So very cool. I read another one of his books the year before. The Elementals, yeah, which was very interesting. 1981 was Elementals, which was also a very good book. And then Blackwater series started in 1983, so this is an oldie as well. And this is a series of novellas, and there's like 7 or 8 of them. So I only read the first book so far, but it really feels like I was reading a TV show. And it had like a good mystery to it. It's a small town that gets flooded completely. So it really felt like, that game, The Sinking City, where everything's flooded. It felt like that. It's a small town, but the buildings were all flooded and you can still kind of go into them. So it's that kind of vibe, which was really cool. And then as the town is flooded and they're kind of like assessing the damage, this woman shows up out of nowhere. Bright red hair. I think she's some kind of water creature, but I don't know yet. As of the first book, I don't know. That's my guess. But I think she's some kind of entity that just shows up with the water. And she kind of like blends in with the townspeople, and the men are all like hubba hubba, and they're all like, oh my god, she's so gorgeous. They're all infatuated with her. But then all the women are like, I don't know if we can trust her. Like, she just showed up out of nowhere. Like, what are her teaching credentials? Because she's suddenly a teacher. And there's definitely more to her, but that's just the vibe from the first part, and I haven't read the rest yet. So I don't know where it's going to go yet, but what it's set up so far, it was good. Considering it's from the 80s, I think it would work really well even today as like a TV show. It would be really fun to watch, I think. Alrighty, then I read Paver's Thin Air. I think I might have to put that on D tier. I think this is the mountain climbing one, right? The Himalayas, 1935. Third highest peak on Earth, and that's what they're trying to climb. 5 Englishmen set off from Darjeeling, determined to tackle the sacred summit. But courage can only take them so far. As mountain sickness and the horrors of extreme altitude set in, the past refuses to stay buried. It was pretty creepy. But it's one of those things where it's like, is it the altitude sickness or are you actually seeing something? And it didn't really stick with me. I can't really remember if it like commits to the supernatural or not. I remember it being kind of creepy, like as they're all trying to climb the mountain, they see stuff and like people in the distance. So that was kind of creepy. Yeah, kind of like the Outlaw incident. Yeah. Same with the Dark Net. I don't remember. I remember reading it, but I also remember it wasn't quite what I wanted. Darknet by Percy. The Darknet is real, an anonymous and often criminal arena that exists in the secret far reaches of the web. Yada yada. Now an ancient darkness is gathering there as well. This force is threatening to spread virally into the real world. Oh yeah, that was actually pretty cool. Unless it can be stopped by members of a ragtag crew. Yeah, I remember vaguely. It did have some cool stuff. And I love the idea, just like The Ring, Cairo. I love those movies where the ghosts kind of like find a way to integrate with modern technology. So for that, it's cool. But again, I kind of like vaguely remember the characters and some scenes where they're like together, but I think the girl gets like superpowers, kind of almost like 11 from Stranger Things. But again, it didn't really leave a lasting impression, so I think it's fine in D tier. Okay, Old Country. Ooh, up. A or S tier. Really good. I fucking love that book. It was so creepy. It's this couple who's like, we should move to the countryside while we can. They find this farmhouse on sale. But then there's this other family who is buying up most of the land, who is like, you weren't supposed to buy this land, like we wanted this land. And they're kind of standoffish about it. But then later in the book, you kind of find out like, no, they're doing it to protect you. They're trying to keep people off of this haunted land, because once you live here, you're never leaving. It's just such a good atmosphere. Every season at the farm brings a new threat. And everyone that lives around them has learned how to deal with it. And they're like, if you follow the rules, you survive. And it's the craziest shit. Like one season has these scarecrows that show up everywhere. And if you do, you have to burn them. And they burn easy. But if they burn, they scream like real people. Stuff like that. And it's just so cool and so weird. And I fucking loved it. Yeah, you know what? S tier. I really enjoyed that book. And the characters, one of the characters starts out a bit like, I don't know if I can like you or not. Like, his history is a little bit like, I don't know how to feel about you. But then they really come together as a couple through this book. And I just thought that the things that happened to them, and like once they survived a season and went into the new season, I was like, okay, what is it? What's the haunting this season? I fucking loved it. It was really, really fun. Oh yeah, and there's also another one, was a guy that comes walking out of the woods naked. But he's like, it follows. He walks very slowly, but he won't be able to come into your house. So if you're working outside and you're working on the farm and you see him, you spot him in the distance, you just have to book it. Just go back to the house, wait it out. He'll leave eventually. That's another one. That's like the easiest one I think they had. But yeah, stuff like that. I'm like, this is so creepy and weird. I really liked it. Oof. F tier. We Spread by Ian Reid. This was a book that someone gifted to me, so I feel bad, but I really didn't like it. It's like, pretends to be a horror book, but then I'm gonna spoil it, so I apologize. If anyone wants to read it, don't listen until I drag out the next book. I have to spoil it because I didn't like it for this reason. That it makes it seem like it's this elderly woman who's haunted, and she gets put into an old people's home, like a care home. And she thinks that there's something sinister going on. So I was into it, and I really hoped that she was right. But then in the end, it reveals that it's all just a metaphor for how terrible it is that she has dementia and she's just losing touch with reality. So it was really disappointing and just really sad, and I didn't like that she was just withering away and losing her touch with reality and getting paranoid, and it was really sad. So that's why it's F tier. I didn't like it. Then Pay the Piper. I'm gonna have to put it in D. Oh, I'm putting putting quite some books in D. I might have to rearrange some stuff, honestly, after a bit. It's written by Romero, but I think posthumously? Posthumously? Is that how you say it? That got published after his death. Like, someone found it and then adapted it into a full book, if I remember correctly. But I did like it. It was like a Lovecraftian bayou horror. So that's just, I just like the vibes. I don't know why I'm putting it in D. I think I'm putting it in D for the reason that it was kind of hard to get through. The way it was written was a little bit like dry at times. The payoff, the ending was really cool, but to get there was quite a struggle. So good payoff, good story, but the way it was written was just a bit rough for me. House of Ghosts is another D tier. It's just one of those books again, like Myra and Eat the Ones You Love, where, yeah, sure, there's some ghosts, there is some supernatural, but it's just in the background. They play such a minor part. Basically, they have no contribution to the actual story that's going on. And the book is called House of Ghosts, so it was a little disappointing that I got some ghosts, sure, but they were just standing around not doing anything. Oh my god. Oh, these back to back. Okay, I'm gonna just barely put The Only One Left in D tier, and then Riley Sage. So these are both Riley Sager books. And then With a Vengeance is going F tier. Okay, so I like Riley Sager. I normally like his books. The first one I read is still my favorite, The House Across the Lake. I love that book. I thought it had a great twist at the end, good ending, and I loved the whole paranoia of this lady spying on the people across the lake, and it was kind of like this Disturbia vibe from the movie. So that was great. I liked it. And I feel like it's kind of like Masterton. Every book I read after that is kind of like slightly downhill, and this With a Vengeance is the last one I read of his, and I did not like it. So I'm gonna put The Only One Left in D tier because it was a little better, but some of the stuff at the end I would have to majorly spoil it, so I don't really want to go into it too much, but there were massive holes in the ending of this story, and my friend read it, and then I read it, and then I went back to her being like, what the fuck was this all about in the ending? This didn't make any sense. And she was like, yeah, now that you mention it, that was kind of stupid. So it's like, It was almost there. It was almost a good story. Everything up until the end is pretty much good. One thing I can say without spoiling anything is, for example, she drives out to the mansion that's on the cliff, and it's like shit's about to go down. So she knows like people are in danger and they have to leave the house. Then she says to someone who works there, she's like, take my car, go get this person. And I'm like, what happened to our phones? Why not just call? Like, he would be here so much faster. Just call 911. Like, it didn't make any sense. Like, why are we suddenly taking the car to physically go get someone when we just have phones? That was just a minor example of like the holes that I didn't really gel with in the story, where I was like, huh? Why are we doing this? That I didn't really gel with. And then With a Vengeance was like Dead of Winter levels. I put these very close together, where it was this kind of like people stuck on a train together, and it was like, oh no, one of us is a killer. We can't trust each other. What are we gonna do? And then everyone was so fucking stupid. I don't even remember really who did it. I just remember being frustrated with every character in this book, the whole book. And then when I finished it, I was like, into the garbage. I really didn't like it. Which is kind of crazy because I love some of his books a lot. But this one, like Darcy Coates, I like almost all of her books. And then this one, I was just like, nope, I hate it. So yeah, weird. Ooh, Mistborn. I hope I'm not upsetting people with this one, but this is a D tier book. So I read the Stormlight Archives. They're amazing, really good. I can't wait for more of that. And I figured, since the Stormlight Archives arc was done, I was like, oh, I know Mistborn, people love it, so I'll start the very first Mistborn arc. And I thought it was kind of boring. It felt very young adult, so maybe I should just go easy on it. Maybe I should just see it as a young adult book. But I think coming off of Stormlight Archive to the first Mistborn book was a mistake. I went from something like huge epic battle to like, I'm a spy. I'm gonna spy on rich people. Oh, he's so pretty. I'm gonna fall in love. So it felt very like it was not a good jump to that. But I think people are saying the second Mistborn arc is really good. So I do think I want to keep pushing. But yeah, this first one I did not. Yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, she is a kid. That's why I'm like, maybe I should just read it, see it as the young adult fiction that it is. But I think I just had really high expectations because I came off of Stormlight Archives. So I think that's my gripe with it and why I'm putting it in D tier. Ooh, Brat. This is a gross book. I guess I'll put it in C. I didn't really gel with it, like to put it in B enough, but it's better than D. This was such a gross book. This is probably one of the grossest one I read. This guy is like dealing with grief, and he thinks he's about to die, and he keeps peeling skin off his body. And it's just it was so grossly written. Like he would just find a little loose spot and then just peel it and see how far it goes. And it was just so gross. And just because the gross factor was so well done, I'll put it in C. But story-wise, it was really like metaphorical and vague. So I barely remember what was going on, just that I was severely grossed out by how well the body horror was written. And it did have a good message by the end, I think. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. But I think it's at a good place at C. F tier. Oh my god, I have so many books in F tier this year. I feel like it's more than last year. The Lamplighters by StoneX was so fucking boring. And it was such a good mystery. It's about this, I think it's based on a real mystery of 3 lighthouse keepers who just go missing. They just disappeared. And then when people come to relieve them, there's no one on the island. So this book is about what happened to them. And I thought it was going to be a supernatural book, and it wasn't really. There was the slightest sprinkle of supernatural in the very end. But yeah. Okay, think of 3 people who go missing on an island and there's no supernatural explanation. What can you think of that happened? Yeah, that's what happened. Oh, this is another F tier. This book, Survivor Song by Paul Tremblay, is the book that made sure that I will never read a Tremblay book again. This was such a boring book, and I read another Tremblay book before this one, and I really didn't like it. And I really didn't care for the ending. It was like the possession one. It's like a family possession one. Some people like it, and I could see why you would like that one. So I wasn't completely put off by him yet. And I was like, I'll read another book by him and see like if that one maybe does it for me. And Survivor Song is a zombie book, but it was such a boring zombie book. And I was like, only this author could make a premise as a zombie apocalypse this boring. And it was just a hate read all the way through. And then the ending was unsatisfying. So I was like, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time on him anymore. Not my kind of books. Oh, we're almost there, guys. 4 books left. Okay. The Gathering by Tudor. This is a good one. I might even put this on B. This is a really solid book and they're really interesting. So it kind of plays out like a realistic thriller, and it's a detective being called out to this tiny Alaskan town, like she's FBI, and she's called in to investigate a case. But there is a colony outside of the town, and it's a vampire colony. So it's written really realistically, but vampires are real. They're obviously a danger to people, so they're kind of like secluded. They live in these secluded communities, and this town lives close to a vampire community. So when someone dies, the town is immediately like, oh, it must be the vampires because we fucking hate them. Of course it's the vampires' fault. And then the FBI agent, I remember now, she is specifically an FBI agent who deals with the tension between humans and vampires. So she's called in to investigate this murder and determine whether or not it's a vampire killing. It has a TV show. Oh, does it? I was very intrigued by it. It was very good and it had a good payoff. Just a really good FBI investigation, kind of almost like X-Files, but vampires are real, like no dispute. That's like just an established fact in the book. So very cool. I liked it. My Darling Dreadful Thing by Van Veen, which has to be a Dutch author, Johanna van Veen. I think she's Dutch, yeah, I think I looked it up. Not F tier, sorry, I'm holding her over F like I'm threatening her, but I'm trying to think. I think it's gonna be D. It kind of gave me Twin Peaks vibes at times. I don't know, I felt like it was almost playing it a little too safe. There's this mom with her kid. They do seances so people can communicate with the dead through the daughter. The daughter is a conduit. That's what they say, but it's all fake. They have like wires under the table, little bells that they can ring at a distance. Like they're faking it completely, except that she has a familiar, she has a ghost friend that she kind of made a pact with, like a blood pact, and she lets this ghost possess her temporarily during seances so that she can just basically do weird things. But everything is lies. Like she pretends to be family members that she isn't. But she does use a ghost to fake it, interestingly enough. And then this Asian lady hires her for her powers, even though it's all fake. But she sees that the mom is like really abusive and starving she's starving the daughter too, because she wants the daughter to stay like doll-like and small. So she's starving her on purpose. So the Asian lady is kind of like, I'm gonna get you out of this situation and you can live with me. So it was very interesting. Like it's a very interesting take on all of it, but it still felt like I didn't really feel the tension between the two main characters. It kind of felt like it just didn't really go anywhere for a long time. There is a good payoff though, like the ending is fine, the ending is good, but I would say it's kind of like Homecoming on that level. Like they're both good, but I just didn't really gel with it well enough that it kind of was a bit boring throughout. The premise was really good, like the start of it was really interesting. Like I liked the whole faking of the seance while having a ghost friend. Was very cool, but... Ooh, and then we have two pretty strong books to end it with. Listen to Your Sister has to be A rank for sure. That was a good book. Very intense. It's like a sister and two brothers, and obviously the brothers don't listen to her. That's why the book is Listen to Your Sister. She's the oldest, and she's kind of like trying to keep it all together. I think their parents aren't around anymore, but the brothers constantly get in trouble, and they all have weird powers of their own, and they're all different in their own way. It's like these weird like dream manifestations, and it gets wild, but it's all like past trauma boiling up between them that's manifesting from their nightmares and stuff, and then they have to deal with the manifestation of their actual nightmares while they're on the run from the cops, I think. Crazy book, really strong, cool, I recommend it. And then Model Home, this is like one of the last books I read in December. Yeah, this is one of those books. It was really good. It was legit good, but it was more about, it's kind of like Haunting in the Arctic. It was more about generational trauma and abuse, and you go into it thinking it's a horror book and a haunting, but it's nothing really like that. It was really good though. Like I definitely can, if you like The House on Needless Street, I think it's called. If you like that book, you would like this book. So it's really good. Honestly, it's good, but it was just for me the kind of depressing child abuse angle that I was just kind of like, I don't gel well with this. I want a haunted house, not sadness. That's it. That's all of them. Okay. Okay, let's start with S tier. Is there anything I want to maybe take off S tier? Maybe this one I might put on A tier. Old Country. Old Country is like just S tier, just A tier, but I think because the horror was so unique and weird, I'm gonna leave this one on S tier. Stephen King is downgraded to B for sure. Let's see. What am I thinking about A tier? Is this? I almost feel like these are... Maybe this go to B tier. The Puppets one I really liked, but the Christmas Lights, yeah, maybe a little lower. The Cult one was really interesting. Frankenstein, maybe B. Okay, I think this S and A tier I'm like perfectly happy with right now. Then B tier was like good, but not crazy amazing or anything. Well, no, some of these are pretty amazing. Scutler's Cove, In Between Two Fires, Secret Santa, House of Phantom Park, Gillespie House, these are all good. The Gathering, solid books. So they almost don't deserve to be in B tier. They should be in A, but just because for me, compared to these books, I didn't connect as much with these books as I did with these. So for that reason, they're in B. If that makes sense. Dracula Daily's gonna go down, I think. No, it should be on C. I think I put Brat a bit too high. I'll put that down. Although, oh my god, this is so difficult. This is so tricky. Honestly, all of these books I could still recommend you to read. Like, it just really depends on what you're into, you know? You might still find these books very enjoyable. And then D, we're starting to get into the territory where I'm like, there's probably people out there who really like these books and I can see why you like them, but for me, I was just like a little bored reading them. That's like this category. Like, they're good, but they kind of like take a while to get there. Well, this one is really good. I should put this one higher. I feel bad putting it that low. It's so well written, beautiful how it's written, but it's so sad. And then these, I'm just like, yeah. Either they... Yeah, I just didn't really gel with them throughout reading it, if that makes sense. And then F tier, I'm like, oof, I feel like I wasted my time reading these. But, like I said, V. Schwab, I know she's very popular. I will read more of her. Brandon Sanderson obviously is amazing. I will read more of him. I love Darcy Coates. I love Riley Sager. They just each have a book that really was a miss for me. Same with Heuveldt. I really liked Hex, but Echo just missed it completely for me. And then there's only a couple like these. So I would say now they're actually from like absolute worst to like, this is the absolute worst book I read this whole year. And then they get slightly less terrible as you go. Like, these books, their fault is just that they're boring to me. Like, I just didn't like, and this one I just didn't like the ending. Yeah. I think I'm happy with this. I think I ranked them all. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 books that made it to S tier this year. That's quite good. Any questions, class? How did I feel about the ending of This Thing Between Us? I loved it. Yeah, I think that's why it's S tier. Obviously, I loved it because it's S tier. I think if it didn't nail the ending, I probably wouldn't have put it on S tier. It probably would have been like B if it didn't have the ending that it did. But it was just, it was so well written. It really made me feel for the guy, and the way his grief was described in the book as well was just, there were so many points in the book where I was like, I'm about to cry just because I feel for him so much. And that doesn't really happen to me very often. It's just really well written. Book goal for this year, I set at 75, I think. I read 80 something books in 2024, 124 for last year, but I want to read less this year. I know that's weird to say, but I want to read less as in I want to take my time more with bigger books. Because I feel like this year I had a great time reading all these books, but I also intentionally avoided some of the bigger books because I was like, oh, that's so thick and it's just gonna take me forever to get through. And I really enjoyed not spending more than like 5 days a book, but that led to like me dismissing some books that I know are good. Case in point, my first book of the year is The Reformatory, which is fucking amazing. Holy shit. So I can't wait to put that in S tier by the end of, or start of next year. I already know that that's going to be an S tier book. 3, 6, 9 and 9. 9 books in S tier last year and 9 books in S tier this year. Interesting. But yeah, way less. This feels like so little books now in comparison, looking at this. But I think for next year, I'll probably go more back to this amount of books, since I want to take my time more with like bigger books. But yeah, I have been reading more because these are all thin books in general as well. Yeah, it's just really ramped up when I read. Crazy. But yeah, I'll make a tag of favorites of 2025 on my Goodreads with this. So this is Goodreads without being signed in. I think you can just go to my profile, Gab Smolders. So you can see I'm reading Reformatory right now. I'm actually reading it. I don't know if you guys know Baker Reads on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. But he's a horror book reader and he does like reels of like, I've read these books do this and this and this. I like him a lot. I go to him for recommendations. And he is reading The Reformatory with a book club this year. He started a book club. So I was like, oh, okay, this is my sign. I have to read The Reformatory as well. So that's why I'm reading it this month, starting off with that one. And then you can just see like I added something to an old Masterton to want to read. Just some stuff that I'm adding to want to read, or some stuff that I've finished reading. I wonder why this one got all fucked and it doesn't have a date on it. It doesn't say, it says a date here, but oh yeah, and which authors I follow as well are down here. And 8,000 of you guys are following me. Wait, I think you can click follow if you want to like keep an eye on it, but you don't have to. I wanted to show here. So I ranked the S tier. I put in a tag favorites of 2024, so I'll make a similar one for 2025. So these were my favorites for 2024. September House. I would say from these, Lee Harker, Gallows Hill, and September House are like top tier. Really good books. But yeah, we did it. And of course, once January finishes up, I'll do another January isolated video on what I read this month, and I'll talk about The Reformatory to begin with. Yeah.